Hey, this is July 21st, 2020. You're listening to the Giant Bombcast. Everybody get your claps ready. We're going to go on 43.5.
43.5. Okay.
Close the tab. I thought we were done.
Oh, crap. Okay, we probably should have gotten this done before we started the stream. I'm Brad Shoemaker.
Oh, well.
Ben Pack in the house.
What's up?
Chan Ochoa in the house. Jason Astriker in the house. That's right, with the 3 claps.
I'm the only one that didn't clap now.
GameSpot's Tamoor Hussain in the house. What's up, y'all?
No, that's a mukbang.
Oh, God, we're getting right into it. All right, eat on stream. Go. I hear people are into it.
I have a sourdough starter and a Tostino's jar and some Kinder Buenos.
Just open up that
That's all I
jar.
got.
Scoop your fingertips right in there.
I just down some apple juice because my blood sugar is like super low.
no.
So I'm ready.
Oh, no. Blood sugar streaming is, man, you got to go get that category started on Twitch. This might be the next big thing.
Yep.
Can you
Watch
stream
my
out
blood sugar rise as we podcast.
Oh yeah.
Get a little thermometer graphic going.
Yep.
There you go. Jan,
Yes.
we were talking before this thing started, and then I was like, you have to save this.
Oh, okay.
About
I have to
green-
relive my nightmare.
I mean, first, mukbangs came up as they are wont to do.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Yeah,
we,
in casual
and
conversation
then
all
we
the
quickly
time.
got into green screening one's mouth.
Yeah, so my buddy, I went to his place like sometime last year, and he had a new 4K TV, 50 inches, and it was like, man, I gotta show this off to you. And I thought, like, all right, we're gonna like watch a Blu-ray or something.
Sure.
But no, he chooses to show off like 4K mukbangs of this floating mouth. And I don't. What you can watch ASMR videos or mukbang videos, whatever. I don't kink shame. You can be whatever you're into, but this stuff just made me feel some type of way that
Question.
like yes.
What was the mouth eating?
Right.
It was eating octopus tentacles,
Okay.
like covered in like a spicy sauce.
Ooh.
Keep going.
And there's just like a lot of slurping involved,
Yeah.
and just this floating mouth with like tiny sunglasses on the nose.
Ooh.
I just I think they were raw octopus tentacles too.
Oh, they wiggle a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes. That's great.
Ugh, it's like the nerve endings are still firing in there. What's going on?
Mhm.
Yep.
If you guys were mukbangers, what would you be eating on stream?
Mm.
Like, what can you really put down just a lot of?
Well, first of all, like, let's kind of try to define this here. Like, what are people looking for in a mukbang stream? Like, is it fine
Keep-
cuisine?
You know,
Mostly.
Brad, that
Is it?
varies
Okay.
by person.
Okay.
You gotta carve out your niche. You know, some people are just like into watching attractive people eat. Some people are into watching people eat a lot of something. You know, some people are into the people who just make weird sounds. It's the world is your oyster. Don't eat oysters. Probably, I would recommend.
Do you think there
What's
is?
wrong with oysters?
You don't want to eat too many. Actually, I feel like the sounds involved in eating an oyster would be pretty all right for some people.
Is there-
The shucking and everything. Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
is there-
shucking would be good.
Is there like mukbang ASMR overlap? Do you think those are?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
coincidence.
yeah.
Oh,
the-
yeah.
The floating mouth thing that I was watching. That's like a convergence of both of those.
Oh, great.
Spaghetti.
Spaghetti.
Ooh, okay.
All day long.
Are you gonna be slurping it though? Because there's like a lot of chance of like,
I'm going-
sauce
I'm going-
splattering on the monitor.
I'm going full ramen restaurant. Like I need to make sure the chef knows that I appreciate the food.
People.
You should green screen yourself, facing yourself, like mirror it, so you can do a Lady in the Tramp thing with the spaghetti and just like meat.
Lady in the
middle.
Tam. I love it.
Yes, I like it.
I'm gonna do a fast food run. I'm gonna go full menu. I'm gonna pick a restaurant, get one of everything, just bring it all back, see how far I can get,
Which one
good.
do you think you could do?
and then not stream for a week after that. Man, without dying in the middle.
I feel like you can't go to a fried chicken.
We're not concerned about that, Brett.
Yeah, definitely not a KFC. I don't think a Taco Bell is gonna. I don't think so.
That's a lot of beans.
Not enough variety there.
I don't know.
Before you make a choice, I should suggest breakfast foods. They always get left out about mukbangs.
Yeah.
Like I would, if I was giving an honest answer, I would have a crap ton of different cereals, and I'd just be like, "Let's go."
Okay, all right.
That's good. That's
All right.
good.
Cereal buffet.
So what about like a Jack in the Box? They have a huge variety.
Oh,
of
that's
food.
true. That's
You
true.
got tacos. You got burgers. You got breakfast
Popcorn
foods.
chicken's on the menu now.
Hey.
Oh man.
I was thinking like maybe like the Wendy's dollar menu's got enough variety on it. I might be able to hang
There we
with
go.
because there's like you
Okay.
got like a salad and a baked potato with chili on it and a frosty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I might be able to hang with that.
the chili would
Even
be
like
like
a
a nice
king.
break.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes, indeed. Tamoor, how's life? Jeff's out on assignment this week, so we approached you to see if you'd be kind enough to sit in with us, and here you are.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's happening, man? How have the last few months been treating you?
It's been interesting. Like I moved over last August, I believe it was, and
Welcome to
I didn't.
America.
Yeah, I was very much in that phase where I was still kind of getting comfortable with being here before starting to think about like exploring and learning the city and that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So I think I reached a point where I'm not typically someone who's like adventurous all the time. Like I don't come in like I'm straight away like, oh, attempt to explore. It takes me a while to get really comfortable and get comfortable with the idea I might not get stabbed if I go outside instantly. So I got to that point where I was like, okay, I'm ready to start like really figuring out the city and exploring and finding the interesting stuff. And then it was bam, lockdown.
Oh,
So it's like, so I've been at home and a lot of it, and I'm not gonna lie, it's starting to go a bit stir crazy. I think it's also like because we over at GameSpot we were one of the many people publications doing the E3 replacement thing. And we mixed ours with like a charity effort for Play for All, and that was basically streaming every day, which you guys do in a rotation. So it was like a lot of I imagine you guys know how it feels, but like streaming every day, being on every day, it's like tiring. And then in between doing like the usual daily news and editorial stuff and that kind of stuff, it's been exhausting. I had a week off, and honestly, I spent that week off just unclenching my muscles.
Sure.
Basically, like allowing the fight or flight to just fade away. So I didn't really get a chance to actually enjoy the time off. So like now I'm back, I'm like, I need another week off to actually make the most of the
Like,
week off.
how do you even vacation right now? Like, yeah, we're getting into that time of year when people start trying to sneak some PTO in here and there, but it's like, what do you do? You can't go anywhere or do anything.
I also took last week off, and I thought it'd be a good idea to like find a really secluded part of the river. We went up to the Russian River. Well, no, that was every other day. It was just hide in a corner in the house. And so we went up to the Russian River. It was beautiful, but as soon as we got out of the car, it was like, oh, everyone else thought, let me find a secluded area of this river and also not wear a mask. Shout outs to Sonoma County.
God dang.
Good stuff.
So we drove a lot.
The car's
There you go.
probably a safe place to be right now.
Yeah.
Tamoor, I have to say, I just want to compliment you before we get into it here. Your quarantine beard is a thing of sheer majesty.
Thank you.
I'm very jealous.
I am humbled.
I've been my plan was to just leave it until the end of the quarantine, and then we got that message from like our corporate overlords being like, we might not be coming back this year. And I was like, I don't know if I want to commit to that anymore.
That just sounds like a challenge to me.
Yeah, I came up with this idea when it was like, it'll be a couple months, we'll be fine.
Gotta
But
rise
now, like,
Gotta rise to the occasion.
yeah, but
Yeah. All right.
Thank
you. Video games. You guys want to talk about them?
yeah, there's a
We
couple.
have
Yeah.
to, right?
Oh, I guess. Yes.
Do we have an option?
We are
to not?
contractually obligated to talk about video games here, I suppose. Paper Mario came out.
It did.
They made
Friday.
they made a new Paper Mario game.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Ben, I know you've been playing a bunch of it.
I have been.
Is it any good?
Paper Mario, the Origami King is exactly the video game I needed in my life
Okay.
right now.
All right. I was a little nervous asking that question because the last like 3 of those have been kind of a bummer.
Yeah, I loved those first two, the original and Thousand Year Door. I know a lot of people are into Super Paper Mario. I never played that one. But this game is just a pure delight. Like it's fun, it's funny, it's breezy and light, but it's still challenging, but like not unforgiving or extra punishing. I was a little, I had my doubts going into this game because they were very upfront about the battle system is not like the old ones. It's not just a straight up RPG with, stats and all that. It's more of a active puzzle system where like, imagine a dartboard. you can either rotate rings around or slide the columns up and down to kind of position enemies into patterns. And you basically have 2 patterns. You can either get them all in a straight line, or you can get them all clumped up in a little like 4 squat where you would hit them with your hammer. And when I first started playing it, it is very, and a lot of the Game Boy and DS Mario and Luigi games were like this. It is very handholdy at the start. They teach you all the mechanics twice. They really kind of like turn by turn make you play out these battles, even though you know the solution ahead of time. And I was kind of worried, like, is this going to be just like very simple? But I'm on the second major area, I would say. Like, there's kind of the basic plot is, you know, an evil enemy has taken over the Mushroom Kingdom, turning everyone into origami pieces, and there's these streamers kind of going all around the world, and you have to track down the origins of these streamers and destroy them so you can get back into the castle.
I think my brain is broken because I thought they were like game streamers, like Twitch streamers, just like scattered around the world. It's like, oh, that's okay. All right.
Yeah, they got
track down.
Yeah, they got logic for this game. He's doing a Is it I don't know if I want to use the word shallow, but like when you talk about like a puzzle-driven battle system, like it immediately makes me worry that there's going to kind of not be a lot
Read
of
their
depth.
paper, of course they're shallow.
It's fair.
No, and so like I'm in that second world right now. Basically, so the battle system works that way where you're trying to line them all up, and if you don't line them all up, you can still attack. But if you do line them all up, you're getting like bonuses to damage, and so it's kind of the thing where every battle has a solution. Every battle has an exact number. So you have like, it'll give you like between 1 and 3 so far moves you can pull each turn. So it's like, okay, I'm going to slide these guys here, rotate these guys over here, and then slide these guys here. And all 8 of the enemies have been lined up. I can kill them all in 2 attacks. But if you don't, you know, it's on a timer, right? So you have to kind of act fast, and there are ways to mitigate that timer, which I'll get into with the coins. The way they use coins in this game is really great. But you can like add to that timer. You can, you know, there are items that'll help you slow down the timer. You can get hints. The game is very generous with the hint system and stuff like that. Both in battle and out of battle, you can kind of hit X at any time to get a like hint of where the next place you want to go is. But back to the depth of it. I've kind of hit the point where I am no longer. I say for the first like 5 hours, I was solving every battle without taking damage. I was just like kind of like easily kind of breezing through it. And then after the first boss encounter, it really started to ratchet up. We have a quick look processing right now. Vinny and I were looking at it, and we're kind of in the same spot. And we agreed that like about 65% of the time, I think I can solve these battles without taking any damage. And this is only the second world, so I assume it's going to get more challenging as you go. There's no like equipment. You kind of just have the basic hammer and the basic boots, but you can buy items to supplement those. So like you can buy these like shiny boots, and the shiny boots will do more damage, but they break after X number of uses. Like, and it's fairly generous, like 6 or 7 uses. So you have some slight kind of item usage here and there. There's of course mushrooms to recover HP. There's fire flowers to do like fire damage and AoE, 1-up mushrooms, stuff like that. I've read reviews talking about like some of the later boss battles, people actually like having to pause the game, draw the diagram out, and like try and map where you're going and stuff. And I could totally see it getting to that point.
Let's do it right there on the TV. Just get like a dry erase marker. It'll probably
totally just
right
like yeah, it's also the one thing I guess I'm most surprised by is how funny it is.
It's really well written so far. Yeah,
it's extremely well written and well localized. Like, so a main part of the game is you're collecting toads. There are toads kind of strewn everywhere out through the world, and they're in little environmental puzzles. They can be as shallow as just like hit this tree with your hammer, or they can be like a little sort of like move the boulder over here, jump over there, and hit that guy. And every toad you pluck out of the ground or out of the walls or whatever, they all have like a joke about where they were, what they were doing. And it's honestly like not everything is hilarious, but I am just smiling reading everything. There's some fun fourth wall breaking stuff in there, which I think works because Paper Mario itself is a game that is very physical. Like it's playing a diorama. So, there's no fourth wall to begin with. Like you meet some Koopa Troopas early on and they're watching kind of their like village get attacked. And they're like, what do you want us to do? Walk at them slowly in a line? Like it plays around with that stuff really well.
That's cool. Like, people talk about how hard it is to do funny games, like comedy in games, but honestly, I feel like when Nintendo is firing on all cylinders, like their stuff is probably the funniest stuff out there.
Totally.
Like, some of the Mario and Luigi games, like the Kid Icarus for 3DS and stuff like that, like it's like kind of subtle, but I feel like when they're really on top of it, they're doing it better than just about anybody.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me back to like I think the Mario RPGs have always had good writing, and it reminds me back like I was thinking about Super Mario RPG, just the genesis of all of this, and that game had a lot of just like fun, quirky humor, like all the stuff with Mallow. I thought was a great character. Bowser in these games is always really funny because he's always like he's never the main villain. He's always kind of like second fiddle to whatever's going on, and so you get like that side of Bowser, which I really like, where he's just kind of a hapless goon who loves his troops and loves his people and hates Mario, but like has no real power, which is always fun.
So does it feel like an RPG to you? Like, is there XP? Like, are you raising levels at all? Like it almost sounds like a different kind of game than that.
It's totally a different kind of game than that. There's no XP, there's no levels. You get incremental upgrades as you beat bosses for more max HP. You'll gain the ability after you clear. So kind of each world, each area is set up in two chunks where kind of halfway through you fight something that they call a Vellumental. And these are like elemental bosses that will have some sort of like, the first one you fight is the Earth Vellumental. And once you beat it, you gain a thing that'll progress you into the second half of the level, some sort of power up. And then the second half of the level ends with one of those bosses that they showed off in the trailer. If you haven't watched that stuff and you want to play this game, I would say don't seek it out because I think finding out what those bosses are is kind of a delight. So you get like after you beat the halfway point, you'll get an upgrade where you can hit the enemies with a hammer, and instead of doing a full battle with them, you'll just wipe them out like that. So really what you're only doing battles for is there are some forced battles, you just like turn a corner and there's enemies there that you have to fight, or you're getting coins. And the coins in this game, it was pretty great because like 20 minutes into the game, I had like 5,000 coins, which for a Mario game just felt wrong. I don't know, but the way they play around with them is really cool because you can spend coins on a lot of things. You can spend coins obviously on those items I was talking about, the upgrade and stuff like that. There are trinkets, which will be battle specific things like you have a larger window to defend. It has that active Mario RPG system where you're trying to hit A right when you're attacking or defending to do bonus damage. And you have trinkets that can supplement that stuff. But you can also spend coins in battle. You can use them to extend your timer. You can use them to throw to the toads in the audience. So all the toads that you're freeing in the overworld start showing up in stands around the battle and start cheering you on.
Oh, it's cute.
It's cute and it's great because like they get louder and louder the more you get. And you will like throw them a couple hundred coins and they'll just like come onto the battlefield and start attacking your enemies. They'll throw you hearts. They'll sometimes straight up give you like the solution to the puzzle if you give them enough coins.
I'm gonna cannibalize an email somebody wrote in this week just asking if that's basically straight up pay to win.
Yeah, it is in the good way. It is in that way where if you could actually buy coins in the game, it would feel gross, but you're just earning them fast and furious. I've never had a point where I've had like less than 10,000 coins once I've kind of gotten around that much. If you're doing all the battles, if you're exploring the environment, you're kind of finding coins really fast and loose.
Cool. Man, I'm glad to hear this game worked out. I was when they announced this, like my first reaction was like, "Oh, fucking awesome, a new Paper Mario," and then my second reaction was like, "This might be their last chance with me and this franchise after the last couple." So
not only that, I know this is like a really short. Well, we have no idea how long it was in development for, but they announced it. And it's like, it's coming out really soon.
Yeah, it was like a month ago that they announced it.
Right.
Yeah, it's really. I'm surprised by how innovative they were willing to get with this game. I feel like they knew that they were kind of hitting the point of not no return, but kind of diminishing returns on these straight up just RPG style games. Like those are fine still, but then even in the later DS Mario RPG games, they kind of started to shy away from it a little bit, and I'm glad that they've kind of fully broken out into a completely new and unique style of battle that is challenging. Like those puzzles can get really tricky, but it's not punishing. You're not like, I've only died once in the game. There's plenty of like health. There's plenty of ways to, like I said, use coins to get through the harder battles. I could see it being a really big bummer if like I had to do the same just rotating puzzle so many times in a row, but they keep it fresh and varied enough. And with enemy types, like, okay, these enemies you can't jump on, or these enemies you have to hit first with the hammer and then jump on them. And the bosses are kind of a whole separate beast. Like they all have their own unique strategies, unique weak points. It kind of plays like a traditional Mario boss where you like want to do the same thing to it 3 times and then you'll get access to like a finishing move. It's really fun. Like it's just such a joy.
What's the dumb to smart ratio? Like, does it make you feel stupid? And then does it make you feel like really smart when you figure stuff out? Or
sometimes it makes you feel so stupid. They do a really cool thing where you unlock, or pretty early on, a feature called like the battle trainer, where you go and you can play these sort of preset puzzles, and you can take as long as you want with them, and you can just like, there's like 10 of them per tier, and there's the different tiers get more challenging. So pretty early on, you can just like, if you find yourself struggling with it, you can just get in there and kind of look and watch, and they'll show you the solutions too if you give up. Cool. Which is really nice. That was a big, doing that enough kind of got me over that I feel like a moron hump into now occasionally I'm like, oh, that was a solution. Okay, I don't feel super stupid, but I could see how they've kind of changed it up here.
Is there any
like, I need to feel smart. I really do. I need that in me.
We need to feel a lot of things right now.
Yeah.
Is there any like time pressure on the battles? Is there anything that's really like forcing you to like be on top of it, or do you just get to kind of sit there and eyeball it for as long as you want?
Oh no, yeah, it's on a timer. It's on like a 20-second per round timer, I want to say initially, but fairly early on, you can pick up trinkets to increase that. You can spend coins just to straight up add to the timer. One of the cool things about this Paper Mario game is how accessible it is. They have a ton of accessibility options in there too, gated kind of through unlocks. So one of the early ones you get is an automatic bank. I forget what they call it, but it automatically, if your timer hits 0, you can set how many coins you want it to feed back into the timer. And you can do that once per round. So like if you just kind of like don't have your eye on the time because you're looking at the puzzle or whatever, and it hits 0, you can be like, okay, just take 500 coins, put it back in. That'll get you 15 more seconds automatically.
How far did you say you were into it?
I'm at the kind of towards the end of the second world, second streamer.
Okay, because the thing that I heard in discussions was that I'll ask you as a question, like, do you see like a path for the combat to continue to evolve, or do you reckon it's going to stay like this for the rest of the game? Like, is there avenues for it to mix things up?
I think where they would kind of, the path they would need to take is in the enemy variety and how you're dealing with those enemies as you encounter them, because it's truly like there is 2 things you can do on that board. You can rotate a ring or you can slide a ring. And I don't think that they are going to change that up. I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like when they started rolling out like those enemies that are like, okay, the Koopa Troopas, you hit them with their hammer, it'll turn them into shell form, and then you jump on the shell and it'll launch them in a line. I think stuff like that will kind of be where the variety comes into play.
Cool. Man,
it's just such a joy.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear they pulled it off. I think the world needed this right now. That's cool. I have been playing nothing but Ghost of Tsushima since this time last week, and Tamoor, honestly, the first thing that made me think of asking you to be here is that I have been admiring your photography, shall we say?
Sure.
Your tasteful photos on Twitter.
Yeah, I think I've put like, it has to be upwards of like 7 or 8 hours into photo mode now.
Wow.
It's a lot of time.
I thought we should have you on to talk about your craft, kind of get inside your head and think, your motivations and stuff. I mean, like, honestly, like I did play around with the photo mode a little bit, and it's like kind of crazy how much is in there.
It's
time
really
of day and weather and like particle density stuff and like
it's
like tracking shots with the camera.
That's
The
nice.
tracking shot stuff is really cool. And one of the things that I've been like messing with is like when you move the time of day thing slider, it kind of there's always moments where it's making transitions from like night to day where it's the game is clearly like it's not a smooth transition, it's just like almost flipping a switch on the contrast, and like there's really fun things you can do with like the photo mode on that if you're quick enough and take like a really overexposed image and then kind of like work with that a bit as well. The other thing is really cool is like you can actually like interact with the sliders when you've removed the UI with triangle. It's a small thing, so like you can do almost like time lapse stuff
cool.
if you want to, and like record videos and stuff like that. So like there's a lot of tips and tricks. There's a lot of interesting intricacies to using that photo mode, but like the options they present are amazing, and like the filters and contrast.
Totally. There's so many cool like stylistic things in there, like the just leaving the like the wind and the stuff that blows in it active even while time is frozen, so you can take like animated gifs of stuff. Like it's super stylized.
It's very much a photo mode created for the Instagram generation, where like every like detail, like you know how traditional photographers, they're all about subtlety and nuance and that kind of stuff, and very like slight intricate lighting composition, whereas the modern era of photographers for Instagrams are just like crank the filters all the way to 100. So like in this game it's just like you can make 100% particles come down, so you've got red leaves, and then blow the wind and make all the kind of like clouds appear at the same time. It's like just the extreme end of photography, but it also like it looks really nice and it's really cool. I wish they'd introduce more poses though, so like you can't have like Jin will just stand there. And like the thing that I'm like messing with now is trying to find interesting poses using his moveset. So like getting him to do like a special ability and then trying to find a good spot in there. And
there are any of them where he just like kind of winks at the camera as he's doing it. You know?
you can like mess with his facial expressions.
Like cutting a dude's throat with it while he's got his tongue hanging out, just like
it's like the face app where you're just a big smile over it.
You can set him to do that. Yeah, you can. Great. It's quite fun messing with like doing contrasting emotions, like having like I found a scene where it was just like dead bodies, and I put him in the middle with like just a great big smile on his face. The problem is like when you zoom in on his face, like it doesn't look that good. So I was just like, nah, I'm not gonna do that.
It's not the samurai code, man. You're supposed to act super serious about it. It sounds like a really small thing, but the fact that you can pop into the photo mode by just hitting right on the D-pad, because it feels like every other game that has a photo mode, you have to go like 2 layers deep into the pause menu and like pull it up, and then when you want to quit out, it's like, you sure you want to quit photo mode? And this is just literally just like button in, button out. Like it's really easy to like catch something mid happening and like actually get in there and get a shot of it.
Yeah, that's what makes like the posing stuff easy. Like if you hit like a heavy attack, you can literally like almost frame by frame in and out of the photo mode to find the exact right kind of pose that you want, and that makes it super easy. There's other games that have made it easy. I think it was kind of easier in Last of Us 2 than it was in Uncharted 4. But this is definitely the easiest pop in and out. The one thing I'm wary of is like when you start messing with time of day and weather. I don't know about you guys, but my PS4 is not enjoying it at all. It's like, stop, you're killing me. So I've mentioned this like in our face, like for the first time recently, I had a like PS4 error where it just literally said on screen, your PS4 is too hot, and it turned off.
Wow,
and
no kidding.
I had never seen that ever in my life.
I didn't know that could happen. That's crazy.
Yeah, it just did it, and I was like, oh, it's wild.
Are you on a Pro?
Yeah, I'm on a Pro. I was
Wow.
on a Pro. Like, it's happened twice. Once with when I was playing Warzone, which slight tangent. I just want to say to the game developers, I know you guys have a lot of game developers out there that listen. We don't need the menu with the volumetric lighting and the fog and the people walking infinitely in a distance. If it's gonna make our PS4s scream for agony, just give me a straight up text menu where it says connect whatever. I'm happy with it, or at least make it an option. I hate turning on multiplayer games and the fan just going mad.
Should have some respect for your power bill at some point, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Relax. I don't care about your fog.
But people spend $20 to make themselves look like a little dog on that screen. You have to respect it with the entire power of the PS4.
That's fair.
Yeah. I've reached a point now where sometimes if I'm feeling nervous, I'll just like go back to the home screen menu while and then I'll tell someone in our party like, oh, the multiplayer menu's loaded now, or the multiplayer game's loaded now. So and then I'll come back.
Just give me a holler when it's safe.
Yeah.
So do you actually like Ghost of the game? Like beyond the photo mode? Like how deep in are you?
I did that thing where I spent ages wandering around. So I'm like on the second act now.
Oh,
But
okay.
I'm probably like maybe like 20 hours in or something
Okay.
like that.
So that's like exactly where I'm about to be. I'm on what has to be the last mission of that first island, the first zone. Or
Right.
it certainly seems like, oh, you're about to go do the thing that's going to make you go to the next part of the island.
Yeah.
But there's so goddamn much to do down there that like I've just been doing like side quest after side quest and looking for every goddamn fox den on the island.
Yeah.
And like
The bizarre thing is like none of that stuff is super interesting.
not really,
Like
but it's there. I keep wanting like every 5 feet a golden bird flies in my face, and it's like, oh, there's probably going to be another upgrade over here. I should probably follow it.
It's this game reminds me a lot of Assassin's Creed 2 more than any other Assassin's Creed game. Where I feel like that game had the perfect balance of bullshit that has little to no consequence, but is weirdly compelling because it ticks a box,
Yes.
and stuff that you actually want to do. Like, and I feel like that's what the modern Assassin's Creed games lost. Like from like I think Unity onwards, like Syndicate was like this as well, and the modern Assassin's Creed games are also like it, where you bring up the map and it's just icons everywhere, and you don't know where to start. Two, most of the things that you're doing are completely disposable. Whereas this game, it's got like it doesn't have the overwhelming amount of icons, and it kind of makes it clear what you're going to be doing and what you're going to get out of it. I feel like that's one of the smartest things that they've done, where it's like, this is side quest, you're going to get a minor boost to your thing, and you're going to get this item maybe, and you can kind of prioritize based on that.
Yeah, that's a good point. There is absolutely nothing in that game that leaves you scratching your head about like what you need to do to get a thing or what you're going to get out of it and stuff like that.
Yeah, and so it lets you kind of like, I don't know, I'm one of those people now who thinks about the time I'm spending in a game a little more. Like, I want it to be valuable, and I can make that judgment myself now, where I know, like, I have sessions where I'll sit down in front of it. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do the side quests, the story-based side quests and the main quest, because I want to push the story. But then other times where I've been listening to the Sandman Audible podcast production that came out recently, and it's fantastic. But it means that I can just sit down in front of Tsushima and know that all I'm going to do is find the Fox Den stuff, and that's purely because I want to focus on Sandman, and it's been really good for that. But yeah, I like the game, but I also know that it's quite like nothing innovative about it. It's just a very good tick off the box, scratch and itch game with some solid combat and decent stealth.
It's totally a well-made one of those, where one of those is something that was popular like 6-8 years ago or something like that. The thing I'm worried about right now is like, because I'm trying to clear that first map, like maybe you can tell me because you're a little bit farther than this. I feel like I'm kind of maxing all the upgrades and I haven't even left the first of 3 zones. Like my Tonto, the stealth knife is maxed. All my ammo pouches are maxed. One of the 2 combat trees I finished, and I'm like halfway through the other one. I've got like probably half or more of the stealth. Like I feel like I'm gonna get to Act 2 of 3 and have like nothing left to upgrade, and at that point the game is just gonna break. I don't know. Is that a concern?
I started doing that as well, and I did ease off it because I wanted to get into the second act and focus on the story. So where I am now, I've got a few. I don't know. I don't think it makes it like you overpowered. I think the thing that kind of prevents that from happening is how fragile you are still as a character. Your health, in a combat scenario, it doesn't really matter if you've got all the upgrades. You still, if you don't play your cards right and do the right thing in the right moment, parry, whether that's kind of take out crowd management and take out the archers and pull back, you still will die regardless of whether you've got all the upgrades or not. So I feel like that keeps it going, but you do start, I feel like having more of the tools available to you made the combat and gameplay click in a much better way for me. So the first kind of act of it pretty much forces you into playing primarily samurai style for a lot of the early moments, and that's where I was kind of struggling with it. I thought the combat was good but not amazing. And I love Sekiro, and it's like my game of the year, and I wanted a little more of that feeling of like, yes, I nailed the counter, now I'm gonna absolutely like destroy this enemy. But it doesn't kind of have that. It has more of that Assassin's Creed back and forth style thing. But I love stealth games, so once I got further into it, and early chapter 2 stuff or act 2 stuff, I've been focused more on stealth, and it feels like a much now that I have those abilities, it feels easier to kind of move between the three styles of gameplay that I have. The three pillars for me are the samurai stuff, the stealth stuff, and the archery. And right now, the way I approach it is like I'll come to an encampment. I've got my stealth ready. I'll like go around the periphery of the encampment and take out anyone that I feel like is straggling and easily to go, and easily to pick off. And then I'll hop on a roof with my archery and start picking people off to kind of create a bit of chaos. And then I'll just drop in and do the announcement on my kind of like challenge. And I feel like you can. Act 2 is where those systems start to coalesce, and I don't think they would coalesce that well if you didn't have the appropriate abilities at hand to kind of move between it and make the most of those moments. You could probably do a bit of it, but I like being able to, in the middle of a samurai fight, throw down a smoke bomb and suddenly do loads of like different. So I think you are putting yourself in a better position to enjoy the game by unlocking all that stuff early. But I do think that as time goes on, because you've already got a lot of that stuff, there's probably going to be some staleness starting to set in. But my plan is to just mainline the story the moment I start feeling that.
Yeah, that was that was my concern getting up there. It was just like, it feels like they front loaded this thing with so much content, you could just kind of max everything before you even move on.
Right.
Yeah. What do you guys think of the combat overall? Like I feel like I've started getting a lot better at the parries finally without actually realizing it. Like I was really struggling with a lot of the parry timing early on. Like I kind of do the regular parries pretty consistently, but like I couldn't do a perfect parry to save my life for the first like 8 hours of this game. And like I'm finally starting to get some of them, but I don't really mean to.
So there's a charm that I picked up that allows you to do like it opens up that parry window.
Oh, wow.
It allows you to do perfect parries a lot easier.
Okay, I gotta get that.
And yeah, it's available right from the start. It's on the first island. Anyway, you can look it up. But that definitely made combat a lot more fun. And I played a little more defensively because of it. Like Tam said, samurai style. Just kind of defensively waiting for an opportunity to parry or whatever, and then following it up with sneaky shit, throwing bombs and kunai and whatever. But once those tools opened up, just like Tam said, the combat got a little more flavorful, which I was very thankful for.
Yeah,
because it was rough at first. I'm still in a really good flow of like switching between stances for different enemies. That feels really good when it slows down. You can hit R2 and switch between those. It's pretty cool.
I'm definitely starting to feel a little bit more of the variety emerge, but it feels like it's just turning into like a full-on power fantasy with all of the options that you've got. Like I maxed the black powder bomb last night, and it's at the point where like it's just killing regular guys now. Like I just chuck it into a group of like 6 guys, and 4 of them don't make it out. Like you just turn into like this like whirling dervish of death at some point in that game.
I will say like there's a level of like that you can play that game at that is like not beyond me, but I haven't really started to really get into, and it's only doable when you have a lot of the stuff unlocked and upgraded. So one of the guys on our team, Max Blumenthal, his name is, he's very good at the game. His background is he's an FGC guy, and he also like is very, very, very well known in the Breath of the Wild combat community. So he like pioneered some of the combat tech in the Breath of the Wild community. And so like we put him on Tsushima, and he did a high level like combat video, and some of the stuff is ridiculous, like running, charging, and like using the elbow charge to knock him into the air, and then like hitting him with a sticky bomb, and then using the explosion knockback to slow down time, and use a smoke bomb, and it's like linking all these moves together in a way that doesn't seem like it was supposed to be done that way, but it looks amazing. And like he uses the abilities in like free form way, in a way more interesting and dynamic way. So like there is some depth to that combat system that are available to you if you really want to dig in and figure out timing and that kind of stuff.
Totally.
Yeah, I usually feel like any game that fosters like a John Wick mode like that has probably got something there, some amount of depth for sure. Yeah, I'm still pretty into the game. I thought I would have been burned out on it by this point, like after chasing my 18th fox or whatever. But I feel like some of the side characters they introduce with like the kind of extended quest lines, like Lady Masako and the archer dude, and
Ishikawa.
Like some of those have some actual drama to them. Like I thought that the side quests were pretty bland early on. I haven't followed any of those to their completion yet, but.
And you'll find it more side characters as you
Yeah.
go to the next island. So, it keeps layering.
Yeah,
That's
because
nice.
I was just doing a bunch of like the gray icon quests early on, and those are super just like go here, kill 5 bandits, bring the food back, you're done. Like I was just like, man, is this the whole game? But like, yeah, there is some good like full on samurai drama type stuff in there. So
Yeah.
yeah, the game's all right.
Nice.
Is anybody still sticking with Deadly Premonition around here? I think, Jan, you said you played a little bit of it. Ben's got a tentative look on his face.
The most cursed video game I have
boy.
ever touched for reasons related to the game and unrelated to the game.
Much like Deadly Premonition itself, it's a very like meta situation.
Oh my god.
Related to that, when I was downloading it when it came out last week, I was just like, I thought it would just be set and forget it, let it go for a couple minutes. But then that was the first time on a Switch that I got like a DNS error that the game just stopped downloading for whatever reason.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
was trying to tell you.
Literally the only game I've ever had that has hard crashed my Switch.
Ben, you're probably like way deeper than I am. I'm still about maybe 3.5 hours in, so still fairly early. Okay, still fairly early. And I don't know if it's because my exposure to the first Deadly Premonition was watching both sets of the endurance runs, where that is kind of one of those games where I'd rather just sit back and watch the story rather than actually play it myself. Mostly because the actual playing of the game is it the best? I'd say.
What kind of I've played through that entire first game, and I think I've suppressed all memories of it. I don't even remember what kind of game it is. There's shooting, right? There's yes, they're totally fucking shooting, right?
It got rid of the tank controls of the first game for a little more active. You can move. You can even do a short little hop while you're aiming, which is really helpful for dodging the enemies. Apparently, I haven't touched it yet, but there was a patch this morning that fixes some of the frame rate issues. Not all of them, but some of them.
But yeah, where I'm at, it's still fairly early. I hopped on the skateboard as soon as I could because the little story bits.
Fucking skateboard.
I mean, like the premise of like, okay, like the driving in Deadly Premonition 1 was not great at all. Because like prior to this coming out, I wanted picking up the Switch release of that and then just absolutely hating it, but still playing through it. But then here they thought like, oh well, what should we give York instead of a clunky car? Let's make him the world's most professional skateboarder in the world. And like the story explanation for that is like very dumb, but I think
his hybrid car got stolen.
Yeah,
so he got a skateboard because of course, right?
Why not?
But it's like a boost board, right? It's got like
no, it's just a regular
electric motor.
skateboard.
No, nothing.
No, it's just a badass skateboard. I think the most interesting thing about Deadly Premonition 2 is its structure.
Sure.
Each act kind of has 3 parts, where the first act is the stuff. So this game is a sequel and a prequel to the original. The first act serves as the sequel part, and you're actually playing as a FBI agent named like Leah Johnson or something, who is investigating York for something related to this past case where you're playing as York. I think that stuff's cool. It's like kind of a interactive adventure game, kind of like you look around the room, you ask him about stuff. He's just sitting there getting high, talking about coffee.
He's like literally getting high.
There is a lot of weed in this game, which great. Go do your thing.
Did Swery just like discover marijuana recently?
Or maybe he got, maybe like he saw how culture was moving and was just like, it's time to finally embrace it.
Sure.
And, there's jokes in it about how it's legal and stuff like that. And then the least interesting part of the game is the part where you're actually playing it, which is the middle chunk of each chapter. It's the kind of open world thing. And I'm just started chapter 3, which honestly is like 25 hours at this point. These are long chapters. It's just fetch quests so far. It's just like fetch quests that get you more fetch quests that get you more fetch quests. And it's just like find stuff around the town, talk to certain people, talk to people on certain days where you have to just like go to bed, wait, like go to bed like 5 days in a row, you become stinky and you have to shave, so you have to wash your suit and everything, and then just like then you can go talk to the person on Monday who sells red beans and rice and whatever. I see a lot of people in chat saying Shenmue. I never played Shenmue, but yes, that sounds about right.
I think they've so far for where I'm at, I think they've lightened up on some of the horror elements. It's probably because I'm early and added more Shenmue into it.
You out in the overworld, you don't have a real gun, you have a trank gun, so you're just like, so you're not killing these animals, you're just kind of shooting them with tranquilizers, except when you go over their body and hit A, you harvest like their skulls or their tails or their necks, and just like, I don't know how you're not killing them, but you're not. They make a very clear point of it's non-lethal rounds.
Also, I don't, at least in the first game, I don't remember it going zany right off the bat as soon as you get control of York. But then here he just descends down the stairs and starts talking to a painting.
You mean Hungen?
Hungen, yes.
That's kind of the thing I was going to ask you guys about. Is I've seen some people saying that it feels like this game, I don't know, like maybe took the wrong lesson from what people liked about the first game, or like it doesn't quite. Like, it kind of misses the subtlety that made the first game work.
The thing about Deadly Premonition 2 is a lot like... So, Deadly Premonition 1 was obviously very much like inspired by Twin Peaks, but it had that Twin Peaks kind of thing of like, when you meet the people in the town, there's, of course, rare exceptions, but most of the people are kind of normal. Like, there's the log lady equivalent, there's the weird guy in the wheelchair who only talks with rhymes and stuff like that, but... It's through playing the game and doing side quests and talking to them, you start to realize how weird everyone in this town is, how interconnected everyone is. But this game, everyone is dialed up to 100 the second you meet them. There's Jan, have you met, I forget her name, but the woman who runs the fast travel system, the like Uber-like?
Yes.
What I have to know what Sweary's idea of an Uber, what is the Uber called?
What is it called? Fuck. I don't even know if it has like a super clever name. It does have a joke about how she's like, I'm going to get rich because I'm going to make everyone an independent contractor, and that way I don't have to take any of the fault. So, like,
topical.
That is a thing about this game is Swery is one of the few, like, obviously there's tons of indie games that kind of get into these themes, but like this game talks about drug use. This game talks about there is a transgender character. You know, this game talks about racism. You meet the local sheriff and he's black, and he talks about like how living in the deep south as a black man is like really fucking hard, and how he managed just to walk that line. And so like I totally give him props for being able to speak about these issues. And like there's been some criticism about how the game treats its transgender character, and Swear was out there saying like, I've heard you guys, you're right, I'm going to patch the game and change that scene because like I was ignorant. And so they're straight up like patching one of the cutscenes around the game because of that. And like I think that deserves some props, because a lot of auteurs don't like that kind of criticism and shy away from it.
Yeah, like they would not make the effort to go back and adjust something. So far, it's. I don't know if I'm excusing some of the jankiness of like the frame rate being bad and like some of the corners being like very jaggedy because it's Deadly Premonition. Like I don't know if I would have stuck with it if it was like a different game, perhaps. But God, it's just like oozing in its weird charm. And it's not necessarily the same Twin Peaks type of charm from like the first one, because I'd have to like go back, but I don't remember York being so snappy and kind of like rude to people in the first game.
Maybe there's not enough. Maybe there's not enough FK in his coffee. I don't know.
I played a few hours of that first game in preparation for it, and he's definitely he's a little blunt. Mm-hmm. My single favorite thing about the game is the addition of a sidekick for York in the form
CLG?
Yes, CLG, the clever little girl, a precocious like 12-year-old junior investigator to York. She's the daughter of the local sheriff. She's great. Like their pairing is great because both of those characters, like York and a child, are people who see the world in a completely different way than most people, right? Like York obviously is a weirdo who has his own perspective of things, and a child is going to have a lot of a different perspective on things. But like their relationship is actually really killer. The key thing that keeps me going back and wanting to play more of it is to see what happens with those two characters.
Sure. I wind up not riding the skateboard because I like hearing their little dialogue, and I'm trying to think of a game that handles like dialogue that happens while traveling really well, because this game doesn't do it well at all. Like Saints Row the Third, like did it really well. Like if you hit a bump, like the conversation would eventually resume. But here, if you even like go into a pause menu or like
Go
check
over
your
a curb
step,
wrong.
go over a curb wrong.
God of
like,
War did it pretty well.
yeah, the dialogue
yeah.
will just stop.
Mm.
And like I kind of get bummed out. It's like, well, what were we gonna say? Like, just finish it. Just
don't
come
worry,
back.
Jan. He only has like 15 of those lines, and they repeat thousands of times in the
Okay,
game.
fantastic.
Did you guys
One
recommend?
lollipop.
Do you guys recommend this game? Should people play this game?
No,
No.
no.
Wow. Okay.
I have weird tastes in games, and I've come to learn that. I'm gonna say yes.
I'm gonna
Play it.
say don't spend $60 on this game. I think it's 50 actually. Don't spend.
So don't
$50
spend 60,
on
spend 50.
this. Don't spend $50 on this game.
50.
If you are a diehard, super duper diehard Deadly Premonition fan, you've already bought this game. If you're somebody who say watched an endurance run like me and Jan and are curious about what happens in Deadly Premonition 2, I would say maybe wait until it's like a pretty decent sale.
That's right.
Yeah, and that probably gives you enough time, because they said they're going to patch the frame rate issues gradually. So if you wait,
Every week they're going to give you another like 5 frames a second.
Yeah, you get a couple frames back per week, and then when they give you like when it's full 30 frames, they'll give you a discount.
That's the moment.
Yeah, I think like the thing that I have with that game is I like the first game. This game just feels, the second one just feels like it's being quirky for the sake of being quirky.
Sure.
As opposed to like, and I don't like try hard quirkiness, even if it is like hitting it now and then. Like I saw the skateboard thing and I was like, just grow up. But like at the same time, I like the first game a lot, and I like Swery, and I like Francis York Morgan and Zach and those characters. But I don't want to be in a game where it's trying hard to be quirky. I just,
Does that kind of call into question for you guys, like how self-aware he was and they were about that first game, or like maybe they didn't actually know how ridiculous the thing they were making was?
I think it's more so the latter in that case. Like they had a direct vision, and it may not have landed how they wanted it to. It's kind of like The Room, right? Where it's like they made something like with all of their heart, and then it wound up being interpreted completely differently. But I kind of agree with Tam that sometimes it's a little being quirky for the sake of quirky. But sometimes I just like the cheese, you know?
Yeah, it is fun. Like that's why it is. And I don't want to, when I play it, I am definitely going to play it because I love that series. But I don't want the kind of performance issues to get in the way of what it's trying to do.
That's fair.
Because I feel like that's going to push me over the edge. Where
it's no joke. Like sometimes single digit frame rates, and in the open world, which you spend most of your time in the game in that open world.
Have they said anything about it coming to other platforms?
Not yet.
Okay. Although from the sound of it, like some of the ports of the first game didn't exactly get better when they came to.
No, they're bad. They're all bad.
Yeah.
Jeff made a really good point about this game when I was talking to him about it, which was that first game nobody had any expectations for. It became this kind of cult hit that people discovered. You know, it's like, check out this cool quirky game. You know, it plays kind of like garbage, but it's really engaging. It has a fun story, and then having to make a sequel to that, right? It's like, well, now people are going to have all sorts of expectations. People are going to come in with a lot of preconceived notions about what they think a Deadly Premonition game is. And it's like, man, what even is a Deadly Premonition game? And what Swery thinks a Deadly Premonition game is a lot different than what a lot of people think a Deadly Premonition game is, it turns out.
So the person that reviewed it for us, Kurt Indovina, is like a huge Deadly Premonition fan and likes Swery a lot. And I think the thing that he came away with, what he said was like, he thinks that The Missing, JJ Macfield, is probably a more interesting game to play as a follow-up to Deadly Premonition, because it doesn't try to recapture that, and instead takes what was good about it and spins it in a different way.
I meant to get back to that game. Did you play through that whole thing?
I didn't.
Oh, did you, Ben? Oh,
Yeah, I did.
I didn't know that. I don't think I really got back to it after the quick look, but like, there's something there for sure. Like that thing, after enough of like the cell phone stuff kicks in, like I'm trying to remember like certain like conversations, like they're piecing them back together, right? Some of the text
Yeah, you
message
get
chains and stuff,
the text threads and stuff.
and like there's a real like storytelling hook to that. Like, does that game pay off?
Totally. Yeah.
Huh.
I really, really liked the story in that game. I didn't play it. It could have been in my top 10 last year if I had. I played it this year though. But
Okay. Oh man, that game had the best like text stickers in it also.
Oh, those were really good. Yeah.
The one that's just like fuck off and like the really comical like cartoon font and everything.
Ben, if Deadly Premonition 1 was super heavy on the Twin Peaks, what would you say Deadly Premonition 2 has been so far? If it's been similar to anything?
I
'Cause
feel
it's
like
definitely not like a fire walk with me.
no, it feels almost kind of like a return, but with the complete wrong lessons learned. Because like modern day, I don't want to spoil how Deadly Premonition 1 ends, but it ends with a very serious character change to the main character. And they have to continue that on into the sequel, obviously. And he kind of feels almost like not definitely a Dougie, but like kind of that similar, like, here's the character you know and love and want to see, but it's not the same.
Right.
Getting a fair number of True Detective like season 1 comparisons in the chat.
Okay, yeah, I could see that too. Except it's a little more.
Whoa.
No, like not a good representation.
Who's making those comparisons? Relax.
Settle down. All right. Well, I just have to express my gratitude to you guys for playing this game so that I don't have to.
I honestly think
I
I'm going to
really
go
like
back and finish it when I'm done with Paper Mario, just because I want to see how the story goes through. And at the time, the Wikipedia page for it didn't have a plot summary of the game because I was just going to read that instead.
Valid. Entirely valid. All right. Before we head to break, Tam, you mentioned you're playing a game called Song of Bloom.
Yeah, I'm gonna sully these conversations by bringing a mobile game to the table.
That's fine.
Disgusting.
So, Song of Bloom is an iOS game. I don't think it's on Android. It's very cheap. I got it for, I believe, $2 or $3, and it is maybe 2.5 to 3 hours long. But it's one of the most interesting games I've played in quite some time. It's like it reminds me of it's really hard to explain what it is, but effectively it's like really light on storytelling, but it begins with a phrase which is I see the signs, and it's a girl who's saying that, and you're given this kind of like almost like a slideshow of a series of images that are kind of connected together in some way, but you don't really know what they are. It's like a triangle, a man holding a phone, a bunch of some constellations in the star, and it just like cycles through them. And you can interact, but nothing really happens. It just plays out. And then you solve kind of like a puzzle at the end, and you get taken to another screen, and it begins like this tree growing. And each branch of the tree has a puzzle at the end with a solution. And along the way, you can unlock clues that show you how to get to that solution. What effectively it does is it uses those slides, that slideshow, as a kind of mechanism to pull you deeper into other puzzles. So what happens is you might be playing during the end of one puzzle. At some point, you might be shown like a triangle with a red circle at the top of it, and then you realize, oh, during the initial slideshow images, there was a triangle there. So you go back and rewatch that slideshow image and think, all right, now the triangle's here. I'm going to try drawing the circle at the top. And when you do that, it's like, yep, you did it. And it pulls you into a different puzzle and lets you solve that and kind of like unlock a branch on the tree. And then it might be like, oh, while you were doing that, solving that puzzle, it briefly showed you like a star constellation, but there was an extra red dot that wasn't there in the one that you saw. So you go back to the original slideshow and you're like, oh, okay, I'm just going to put the dot in here. And it kind of like, it's just kind of like a spiral of like unlocking clues and realizing where you need to use them. But what kind of ties it all together is it tries to use the iPhone in interesting ways and tries to kind of subvert what you think you need to do versus what you are doing and what you need to actually do. So like the easy crowd pleaser one is that at some point you play Pong, but the way you play it is you use the volume up and down button on the phone instead of the actual screen.
Fun.
And then it will do things like, oh, you've got a screen full of popcorn here, and popcorn kernels, and immediately, well, you know what you want to do. You want to just pop them all. So you pop them all, and it moves you on to the next puzzle. But then you might see a clue that shows you that the popcorn symbol again, and you're like, "But I did that." And then you go back to it, and instead of trying to pop them all, you poke around a bit and move some of the kernels, and you realize, oh, there's actually a way to interact underneath the popcorn that was there, and it pulls you into a different puzzle. And the whole game feels like, remember the early days of iPhone where games were just apps that you interacted with, like, hey, I've got a bottle of beer here, I'm shaking it, and it's
I'm gonna drink
like,
it.
I'm gonna pretend to drink it, I'm gonna turn my phone upside down.
What?
Yeah, exactly. So it's basically those kind of interactions, or like the satisfaction you got from doing that kind of brought back, and it ties it together with like this really interesting way of kind of feeding puzzles and solutions into themselves, and also telling this kind of like small subtle narrative about this character trying to discover something. Each time you solve a puzzle, you get a little more insight into who she is and how it kind of what she's trying to do, and her understanding that she's trying to get of herself. It's really short, it's really sharp, really interesting. I believe it won an Apple Design Award. Came out early in January, I think it was. It's just a really cool experience that you don't have to commit a lot of time or money to. So super recommend it just to check it out and see like what can be done with it. It's fun. Like I immediately, it's one of those crowd pleaser games where I played it, and like within 10 minutes of playing it, I knew 7 different people that I knew would love it. And I like texted them all, and I was like, you should check this out. It's amazing. And they all text me back, and they're like, this is really cool. So it's worth checking out at least.
It sounds like, you tell me if this is accurate or not, but it almost sounds like WarioWare, except like heartfelt and thoughtful instead of like zany and stupid.
It's very much like WarioWare with the kind of the heart and this kind of like the emotion and tone of one of those kind of like, indie style discover your life and what the world means to you type games.
That's cool. So you're saying they made WarioWare without the Wario?
Yeah, exactly. Great. Which do you even? What's the point even? Well, apparently
they figured it out.
Yeah, they figured it out.
Cool. And you said that's pretty cheap.
It's like I think it's $3.
Oh wow.
In the US, Song of Bloom.
Song of Bloom.
Yeah, I gotta check that out. That sounds good.
It's like 2-3 hours tops. Like you can complete it. I was going through it at such a rate that I decided to stop and do like one puzzle a day because I was enjoying it and I knew that it was short, so I kind of like eased back on it.
Cool. Excellent. I don't know about you guys, but I forget that I have a phone half the time these days. So it'd be nice to actually have a reason to pick that thing up again. So cool. All right. Unless anybody's got any other games you want to
real quick.
Yes.
Dipped into a game that's still in, I guess, early access called Ooblets.
Oh shit!
Shit!
I am curious about Ooblets. Not least because I need to wean my girlfriend off of Animal Crossing so I can actually play my Switch again at some point. Mm-hmm. Does it kind of scratch that itch?
So I'm not normally into farming type games like Stardew Valley or whatever, but the thing that Abby said to convince me to dip in is that, oh, Jan, there's Pokemon in it. So Ooblets, it's you travel to this remote island because your island didn't have Ooblets, and this new island has tons of Ooblets just everywhere. And Ooblets are like these tiny little creatures that look like plants or pineapples or whatever, and you befriend them, and they'd help you with your farm. And yeah, you're just now suddenly transplanted on this new island, growing stuff for the community, for yourself, and whatever. But the neat thing, which is kind of like so far just like the only downside to the game for me, is the battles aren't like a Pokemon type battle where it's an RPG. It's like there's stuff that's super effective. It's dance battles in the form of cards. So you have an energy meter, like a mana meter, like a Hearthstone, and then each dance move costs a certain number of energy. And you're not necessarily dancing to like beat the person, you're just dancing for points. And that part is still a little bit lacking for me. But as you beat more Ooblets in dance battles, they'll give you a seed, and then you plant that seed, and that seed grows into a little Ooblet that joins your party. And from there, you can have like a whole posse of Ooblets following you around. And then you can leave some at your farm to like, hey, you grow this cottonwood, I need hella of that. Or you clean up these weeds, buddy. All right, cool. Check you later. The game's really damn charming. It's really, really funny.
Nice.
A lot of calling things other things, like coffee is like bean juice. And then when I think about it, like that's technically true, and that just makes me not want to drink coffee anymore.
How is the how difficult is it? Does it seem like geared maybe towards a younger audience, or?
I'd say maybe it seems like it'd be a good podcast game, which would be a disservice because the music is really, really good in this. The combat in terms of like the combat isn't difficult at all because the AI so far doesn't really do much to prevent you from getting your groove on. Like there are cards designed to like steal your points so you don't reach the max that you need to get at. But so far it's like sometimes they've been like painting themselves into a corner where it's like they can't really do anything themselves, and they can't really dance their way out of a situation. So it hasn't been too difficult so far. And the battles, because the AI isn't the smartest, they kind of drag on just a bit. But the combat so far has been like far and few between. Only when you want to get a new ooblet or you have to do a dance battle for a story situation. The farming aspect of it is I'm still taking a while to wrap my mind around. But if you go watch the Unfinished that's live on the site, Abby has like a whole farm that's sprawling and lively and seems very well organized.
Big year for games where you grow stuff or build stuff. Or
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
nice to build up instead of tear down.
I've almost finished my Animal Crossing island. It's almost like done.
Is that
Oh.
it's actually possible? Are you really truly ever finished?
You know, of the goals that I've set, we're actually trying to, my partner and I, figure out how to turn our island into a haunted house for Halloween and like have people
That's
over.
cool.
So we're gonna try and set that up.
All right.
I just remembered something that might be of interest to Jan. Completely unrelated to all of that stuff, but the Ooblets has triggered my memory. There's a guy, like a low-key indie game developer called Max Mraz. His name is on Twitter. He created an itch game called Yarn Town, which is
I've read it. Yes. Yes.
Yarn?
Yeah, so you might like this, Jan, given what you're currently playing. But it's a Zelda-like tribute to Bloodborne.
Oh no!
So it's Bloodborne recreated in the style of Zelda. It's kind of buggy. It's kind of like it's very much a work in progress. But it's also very cool and worth checking out if you want some Bloodborne vibes. But because some of the routes are the same through the city, and there's like bosses that are very, they are from the game, but will have familiar ways in behaving.
No,
it's not as hard, not nearly as hard. But it's just like a nice way to indulge in some Bloodborne nostalgia if you want it. It's on itch.io, it's for free. But it's called Yarn Town. Worth checking out.
Yarnum. I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna go check that out now then.
Tempted to ask Tam how much he's dying for PC Bloodborne. Does that just like occupy your every waking moment?
It does. I would be desperate for it. I'd love it. I don't know if it's ever going to happen. I think it would. Like, I think Sony is smart enough to see the demand and be like, maybe we should just do this. I think the roadblock is probably From Software being like, we don't have it in us to do this. Like they're like their history of PC ports isn't great. Like Sekiro was decent, was pretty good actually. But they have been getting better. But I don't know about that team. I think they move on to other projects, and given the kind of like the development of Elden Ring and various other projects, they might just be like, yeah, we're done with that thing. But I hope Sony like empowers the team to do it for them. I'd love to see that one because it would run better. You know what? I will take a patch for PS5 that makes it run well. That's it. I'll have that run better. Sorry, because it's fine.
Yeah, that seems like a no-brainer at this point. But
yeah, when Mark Cerny said that they were supporting like 200 of the most popular PS4 titles, I was like, please God,
200's a pretty big margin.
I think he said 200. It might have been less.
I would feel confident that game is in there somewhere.
Yeah, but like then again, like this is Mark Cerny stuff, and he thinks Knack is popular because he made it. So like that's 2 slots already gone.
Fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. That's All right, those are the games we've been playing. Y'all want to take a quick break before we get on to the news?
Gosh, Zuki, I would.
What?
It's a Ooblets thing.
Shit.
all the kids are saying it now.
Well, gosh, Zuki, we got to get out of here. We'll be back in a minute. See ya. And we are back. Tamoor, thank you for still being here. I know that a 3-hour podcast block is something that only insane people would do, but here we are.
I love it.
Appreciate
I'm excited.
it. Also appreciate. I don't know what you got going on your TV back there, but it looks very tranquil. Is that?
It's Bloodborne, baby.
Oh, there we go.
Do you just leave it idling all day long?
Yeah, I do play a lot of it, like in between. So like at the start of the day, I always like load into Bloodborne because I know that at some point in the day I'll want to run around and do something.
You're just gonna need it.
So, yeah, I'll need it to help me get through the day.
You're gonna need to parry something to feel whole.
Exactly.
Wow. I get it. I feel you. All right. Let's get into the news for the week. I think we're pretty squarely into that part of the year where anything that happens about the new consoles at all must be talked about. So here we are with a news section that is mostly full of that stuff. What is happening?
I don't know. Someone's using a power tool.
Somebody's printing something.
Somebody opening a garage door.
I think it's a lawnmower.
The news truck is backing in. Yeah, it's mostly console stuff this week. Let's just kind of set them up and knock them down one by one, I guess. That Xbox event is on Thursday, bright and early, 9 a.m. Pacific. So there's, perhaps not surprisingly, a whole bunch of stuff coming out of the Xbox camp. The big one is, I think, that they put up a new blog post that's kind of a bunch of like, here's how you are the future of gaming. Like, it's a lot of very flowery, Phil Spencer-esque language. They're very good at this kind of high-minded rhetoric, I think. Which is to say that 90% of it is stuff we already knew about. But the one big thing they drop in there at the end is an actual announcement, which is that come September, Project xCloud will be rolling into Game Pass Ultimate for free. I guess that's going to be the proper actual launch of xCloud. I don't know if they'll slap some nice pithy actual name on that before then, or if they're just going to keep going with xCloud. But
Or if they're increasing the price of Ultimate.
No, they say in here that
Really?
no additional cost. So
Cool.
as
There
of
we go.
September, if you've got Game Pass, what is Game Pass Ultimate's what, 15 a month, I think?
15 a month.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and that's already got live gold in it, right? Along with all the Game Pass stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, like I don't know about you guys, but to me it seems like this seemed inevitable that they were building up to this kind of all-inclusive service, right? They just want to get you paying one fee a month for everything they've got going on, but like this is totally the right call to me.
How upset do you think Google Stadia folks are right now?
I think both of them are pretty pissed.
I think they're, used to disappointment, so
Ooh.
that's fine.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, this is fucking kind of huge, Like, Game
Yeah.
Pass is, like, already arguably the best deal in this kind of service.
Right?
And also, you kind of have to have live gold if you want to have an Xbox, so that's already built in.
And the thing that they're saying about how, like, every Microsoft game studio game is a day one Game Pass game from now on is, like, really good to hear.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah, you tie this to Halo Infinite, and I mean, that's a easy proposition to get on board with.
Totally.
Like, and then with the talk about how they want to maintain, presence of Xbox One games into the new generation with stuff like Sea of Thieves. It's just every day Game Pass seems to get a better and better like proposition.
Totally. I mean, they also, like, one of the other stories this week, they are kind of forcing people's hands a little bit. They have quietly discontinued the 12-month Xbox Live Gold subscription, which was, like, the only, like, sense, well, you could get 1 and 3 month chunks if you wanted, but, like, if you were going to keep it all the time, that was by far the cheapest way to get it, and you suddenly can't do that anymore.
I think like the other thing that Microsoft is really savvy about is putting their services on discounts, especially like stuff like Game Pass. So remember a little while back where they did that thing where if you're a new customer, you could get it for like $1.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
$1.
Like, you could convert if you had time built up. I totally get it.
I mean, I did that. I've got like Game Pass and Xbox Live for the next like 5-6 years.
Totally, because I think it actually if you had Game Pass and Live, they actually like for the buck. They made them sequential. So like they give you the time for one and then the time for the other. So
yeah, the bizarre thing about that was like initially everyone like reported it and circulated it as like do this quickly before Microsoft realizes,
like,
and then like
it's a pricing error or something. Yeah.
No, yeah, that's what it seemed like. And then a few minutes later, it was like tweets going out being like, "Hey, you can do this" from the official Microsoft accounts, and it was like, "Oh, you guys know exactly what you're doing."
I mean, they're in full on like giant corporation loss leader territory, right? Of just like, we're just going to eat a bunch of money on this stuff up front to get people signed into the ecosystem, and then never let them out. So yeah, like I mean, it is kind of a bummer you can't get the cheap live gold anymore. But on the other hand, like if you're in for that anyway, like it seems like a no-brainer to just get the good one that's got everything. I mean, like 15 a month is like, I mean, Netflix is practically there at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think Netflix is like what, 12 a month now or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
It keeps going up every goddamn month. I swear.
Yeah. But yeah, like get all the first party releases day one and all the other stuff that comes along with Game Pass and be able to play it on any device anywhere, pretty much. Seems like kind of a no-brainer. Last I checked, they still don't have iOS support in the preview program for xCloud, unless I've missed something. So I would certainly hope that they get that working before September. But yeah, that remains to be seen. I just caught this right before the show. I didn't send it to you guys, but an interview ran in, I saw this on gamesindustry.biz. I guess this was an interview that Phil Spencer did with GameStar, where he kind of quietly walked back the idea of getting like Game Pass onto Switch and stuff like that, onto other platforms, like competitors' platforms specifically. Like I know that was like a hardcore rumor that was going around for a long time of like they're doing it, you're going to be able to stream Xbox games to your Switch, like it's happening, but like he kind of made it sound like some of the partners that they would have potentially worked with, without naming any names, kind of weren't super into it. So
I think that's the one thing where like it starts to become a bit weird with the lines blurring, where people are like contractual obligations and licensing and that kind of stuff at a certain point. I think this is a situation where everyone realizes this is a ridiculous thing to attempt, and instead of just being like, this is crazy, we cannot do this, they're just being like, oh, Summer, we've just had some roadblocks, so we're gonna go back to the table with this.
The answer when that conundrum presents itself, though, is to always press forward. It's like, this is too crazy to do, so we have to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know how they were going to deal with like the trigger issue on the Switch. There are some just basic compatibilities kind of things there where like they don't have analog triggers on a Switch. So what do you do with like a Forza and stuff like that? But it's still kind of a bummer. The actual quote
goes
is
as fast as possible all the time.
All right. Yeah. The quote is, "The thing about other gaming console platforms is we're not able to bring a full Xbox experience on those platforms. And the other competitive platforms aren't really that interested in having a full Xbox experience on their hardware." So sounds like that stuff is probably not going to happen anytime soon.
This is Steam on PS3 all over again, isn't it?
It's a beautiful dream, but I get it. They have, let's see, I'm not sure where this news came out of. I believe The Verge ran this first. They have ceased production on the Xbox One X. And the all digital edition of the Xbox One S, if you believe that's a real thing. But they are straight up not making those boxes anymore. I guess they're probably just going to like sell through what's there.
Which is funny because part of that like UR Xbox thing was very much like, if you have the old one, the launch of the new one's going to support all those old ones for a while.
We're not going to leave you behind, man.
Yes. So the next generation starts when you want it to. They are the one exception is the original, the disk drive version of the Xbox One S will continue to be manufactured and sold. So that's still going to be out there. I could see. Here's my bet: they're going to keep making the One S through like into the next generation and drop that thing to like a $99.
Yeah, $99,
somewhere around there. Maybe a $150. Because like if you look at like what are the rumors about the PS5 and the Series X are like what $500-$600 probably is what everybody seems to think. If this Lockhart console comes along like it's rumored to, that's probably your like what $300-ish tier, something like that. And then if you But if you keep the Xbox One S going at like $100 or whatever, and people can buy that, you can stream Series X quality games over xCloud as long as you're paying the $15 a month. That's like covering. That's basically covering like the full spectrum of console price points, right?
That's a really affordable plan too, especially if you missed Xbox on this generation. Like you have access to all those Game Pass games, and that's a really good value proposition.
Yeah, they seem to be trying to cover all of their bases. So yeah, kind of a lot of stuff going on the Xbox business end. Aaron Greenberg got out there on Twitter, though, about the Thursday event. Try to manage expectations a little bit for what we're going to see.
Bakugan.
What is Bakugan?
Don't get my hopes up.
What is Bakugan?
Everyone was mad about the Nintendo Direct because it was Bakugan and not Metroid.
All right, we'll get to that.
It's like Beyblades, but balls.
Yeah.
Not really demystifying the situation anymore. I'm sorry. Greenberg was out there on Twitter. He said, seen some wild expectations, talking about the showcase on Thursday. So if helpful, this show has one focus: games. No business, devices, or similar news, just games. A whole show about an hour long focused on games.
And that's what they need, aside from the price and the release date, right? Like those are the only other two things, but they need games.
Which are huge.
Yeah,
things,
I mean, like especially
that we need.
Think back
Yes,
to that.
we do need those. But
Yeah, definitely. But like think back to that May event and like what they've got out there so far compared to what Sony did. It's like there's not.
God, was that May?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I know it feels like it was last year. But
yeah, definitely. That's Sony press conference that like came out real hot. Like everything I was like pretty excited for, even like the games that may not be up my alley, just seeing stuff in action.
yeah. And like no offense to anybody who exhibited during that Xbox stream, but I think back on that thing and like I can't remember much of what they showed. Like,
I remember wall genitals.
Yes, wall dongs is like the first thing that comes to mind. That one definitely stood out. But yeah, that's all I got. So, any predictions for this thing?
I
want to see Platinum's new thing.
Hear games.
I think we might get a Viva Pinata.
Oh, dude, don't say that.
We should get what? Oh no, Rare already announced.
Yeah, they've got.
their game, right?
I apologies to Rare. I can never remember the new game that they're making.
We're gonna see Halo.
Elder
for sure.
Wild, I think it's called.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe no Viva Pinata.
Yeah.
Halo Infinite for sure. I
Yeah.
want to see Platinum. I would love to see Elden Ring.
Yeah. Okay. I would. Yeah. Like they announced Elden Ring at a Microsoft conference. I don't know if I think that was last year, maybe 2 years ago. But yeah, I could see that being something they tried to rope in for this.
And
I would
probably
be
a new
very
Fusion Frenzy.
surprised if a Elden Ring showed up.
Really?
Yeah,
You sound. You sound like you have some.
It's
informed-
purely my my spider sense
Your
for From
informed
Software.
speculation.
Well, like I just feels like it's not right now. Like I'm thinking about back to Sekiro and how long it was between they showing that off and actually showing it off, and it was so long. And I think there has been some scuttlebutt on Twitter today with people saying, "Nah, Elden Ring's not going to be there." And I saw that and I was like, "Yeah, that makes sense." I feel like it's sometime. I hope it shows up because I'm desperate to see that. But you know how George R.R. Martin is with being timely.
Sure. He's got fantasy football to deal with, right? Like, priorities.
Do you think they'd show off like maybe a remastered collection of older Microsoft games?
I don't know. Like the way they're leaning into backwards compatibility, like that's mentioned in that blog post. It's like, you can play 4 generations of Xbox games on this one console. Like the kind of, I think that's how they're hitting the nostalgia for that old stuff. I mean, there's those Perfect Dark rumors hanging around, which more power to you, I guess, if you want to go that route. Do you guys have any sense, Tam? I don't know if you've heard anything. Like, is there even supposed to be third-party stuff at this thing, or is this full on just Microsoft stuff?
I think they said they wanted to focus mainly on their own stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, because the last one was the third party.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
Sure.
I mean, like there's who knows, like partnership stuff. It could be like a product or a franchise that is theirs that some a third party is developing. But I expect it's not going to be a lot of that. There's that Fable game that is supposed to be in development.
It's like all but confirmed at this point, it seems like.
Yeah. So maybe that shows up. I think the one that people are really hoping for is the Initiative's Perfect Dark game, but that's still a rumor and would be far too early considering where the timeline of it.
That's the Santa Monica studio, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. So that studio's only been around for like a year and change, right?
Yeah. So, but they're rumored to be working on a Perfect Dark reboot. I think Halo is the big thing for this. Like,
yeah, man, I wonder how much pressure 343 is feeling about this. It feels like all the hopes and dreams of the next Xbox are riding on this one game right now.
Did you see the kind of like reports today where it was like Halo Infinite has grappling hooks and like it's like it sounds like a wild thing.
Why not just a jetpack? That dude's in a robot suit.
Grappling hooks are way cooler. Every game has a
You could
stupid
get like
old jetpack.
2 of them.
Maybe it's a robot grappling hook.
I'm really interested to see what that is because we've got Phil Spencer talking about it's going to be formatted differently and it's going to be more like the Master Chief collection and it's going to be different. And then at the same time, there's the expectation that it's going to be more like persistent, so Destiny like.
Yeah.
But also like everyone's making a battle royale now. What is that thing going to be? How do they give it some sort of permanence?
I don't think they fall for the battle royale trap.
I think they 100% fall for that trap.
Well, I think they might have a mode in there that doesn't get much support, but like, I mean, I guess Ubisoft just put out a battle royale, but like
100 Spartans jumping out of the Pelican. Let's roll.
That'd be
I think
fun.
they'd have to have it. They would probably, I hope at least, have a unique enough take on it that it's not just it's Halo, but it plays like, or it's a battle royale, but it plays like Halo.
I think like as like a side
all
mode,
they need, man.
like you're saying, as like a side mode, just as part of the multiplayer, that's totally fine. If that's like the core of the game, though, like I
don't think it's going to be the core.
Okay.
I think for Microsoft's own sake and for Xbox's own sake, this needs to be a focused, narrative-driven first-person shooter with a campaign that has Master Chef in the main leading role. That's what they kind of need to do, kind of to drag that franchise back up. And it's been like Halo 5 was big, little, whatever, and like they need to restore some of the gleam to that jewel.
Do you think is it like even a given that you play as Master Chief in this game? Like I don't know where I've gotten this idea that this is going to be like a more open, I don't know, maybe not quite exploration focused, but a little bit more of like maybe it's all the comparisons to Destiny or whatever. But I almost I almost wonder if it starts with like a character creator and you're just like,
Oh no, I don't.
I feel
think so.
I don't know. I feel like they tried that with Locke and all the other lads, and it did not go down well. I think the last few Halo games have been a kind of lesson to 343 and Xbox that people really care about Master Chief, like surprisingly. Like maybe I don't know why they didn't already know and believe that, but like I kind of, the thing is like I love the idea of like fighting alongside the legend because Metal Gear Solid 2, like everyone hated Raiden, but I was like, you're missing the point. You get to fight alongside Snake, and it shows you how badass he is from another perspective. I love that kind of narrative framing device, and I would love to see them do that with Master Chief, so you get to really see why he is who he is. But I feel like most people are like, no, I want to be the Green Power Ranger. Let me be the Green Power Ranger.
wait, is the green one the special one?
Yeah, he's a special one.
Tommy's the best one.
He's also
We
the
all
white
know
one.
this. He's also, yeah.
Oh boy, I'm
In
totally
an alternate universe, he goes evil.
Yeah.
I super get where you're coming from. Like I've always loved the type of story, especially in like MMOs and stuff like that, where you feel like you're just sort of like a tiny cog in a much larger whole, as opposed to like even Destiny did this. Like early on, you were just like, I'm just over here doing these missions, and then like at some point you're like, you are the Guardian, like you're the legendary savior of everything, right? Like I feel like storytelling gets
a lot of pressure.
It gets really dull when it pivots to that like you're the chosen one kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't know if I guess they're kind of like locked into the Master Chief story at this point to some extent.
Also, like, not to annoy a lot of the Halo fans out there, but like I think the problem they face is like Master Chief is just a blank slate. Like he is for the longest time, like I love Master Chief. I'm gonna say that outright. I think he's an iconic character, and I think he is like I enjoy my time with him. my man is hella boring as a character. Though. Like he is
Not a lot
the
there.
driest character. And on the one hand, they can treat that as like we got nothing to work with here. But I hope they take it as we've got a lot of opportunity here now. Like, let's try and do something with him. Like, they started that with the Cortana stuff, and he started to show a little more, like, you know, kind of a relationship with her, but they
Totally.
didn't really commit to it. I want them to be like Master Chief discovers his humanity and is like trying to figure who he is instead of being like tall man who says one or two lines that is there will be a sequel.
Sure.
20 minutes into the start of the game, he just takes off the armor and he just walks
Right.
around
Like,
with
actually,
a guy
like
with a gun.
they like
He's
kinda-
playing Song of Bloom. And
They started.
finds some stuff.
They started skirting that kind of territory. Was it the end of 4 where they take the helmet off, like from the back? You see like the back of his head. I think it was 4, wasn't it?
There's one. Yeah, I think it is 4. Yeah,
There's like a split second shot at the like last second of the game. Like the helmet comes off and you see it's like, oh shit, that dude's bald. But like the idea of pulling the Master Chief's helmet off was like mind blowing. And then they kind of did nothing with that, you know.
they should pull it off, and it's a blonde lady, and holy shit, it's Samus. Oh my god, they've done Metroid.
Shit.
I hope it's like a Power Rangers Turbo situation where this whole time he's been a little boy.
Listen, I just had an amazing idea. What if Halo Infinite was basically Metroid Prime? Like you're on this planet, you've got Master Chief, you're going to different biomes, solving puzzles, shooting Covenant, and then unlocking new abilities. Make Halo a Metroidvania.
Master Chief turns into a ball this time around.
I could get into that, sure. Like just a giant open world Halo.
Yeah.
So you can walk the entire Halo from end to end without stopping.
Oh, we don't need more giant open world games.
Look straight up. You see that other end of the Halo. You could walk there.
Oh
like
yeah,
it.
no, and that's good. Let's go full Breath of the Wild. Let's make it so you can't actually go there depending on the weather, and all of his guns
right,
break as soon as you start using them.
I want to see Master Chief jump off a cliff and pull out a little friggin' cloth and like float down.
Hey, he did have that cloak in that one teaser. Remember in the desert,
he
he had
did.
the cloak on. Where did that go?
Yes, use it as a parachute.
I hope that game's cool. Like Halo 5 is fine. Like it's not a bad game. It was just like it was not enough.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
I
I think this is make or break for Halo.
totally.
Personally.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I was getting at. Like they've got to be feeling the pressure, right? Because you can't just make another Halo game at this point.
No.
So yeah, that's popping off 9 a.m. Thursday morning.
Thursday,
Yes,
yeah.
we will be there to talk upon it as it happens. So
Not the games.
yes, stay tuned for that. I'm excited to see what they got. Sony, not to be outdone here, let's just go console maker by console maker. Some news out of Bloomberg and Nikkei, both the Japanese newspapers, saying that they are dramatically scaling up their production plans for the PS5. They were, I don't know if you guys remember, a couple months ago, they were saying that they were only looking to make like 5-6 million units. I think by the end of the fiscal year, which is like way lower than you would expect out of a PlayStation launch. This story, I think, is kind of dark because the two reasons that they give for why they're rampant. So they're saying they're ordering something close to 10 million PS5s, which is a lot closer to what you would actually expect out of a PlayStation launch. But the two reasons they are giving are A, like supply chain and production are ramping back up a little bit. B, because there are all these fears of a second major wave of the coronavirus coming. They expect a lot of people were going to be housebound and looking for things to do at home. So they're banking on high demand.
Well, it worked with the Switch.
I guess, yeah.
And in a lot of ways, like that's partly why Microsoft is ceasing production on some of their Xbox units, right? Like they can reappropriate those production pipelines for new hardware,
Right.
which I imagine helps them pump out Series X way more.
Sure.
They're just probably not messaging it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is all coming out of reporting kind of in the financial press, so a lot of behind the scenes type stuff. They're also ramping up orders for the DualSense controller. I guess I don't have a number here. They were talking 10 million of those with the reduced plans, so who knows if that's going to like 20 or something. It's a lot of controllers. Anybody watch that Jeff Keighley hands-on with the controller?
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah,
I
a little
loved it.
bit.
Yeah.
I loved it because he was like, it was like watching someone try and take a selfie, but like you're just watching them try and find the position, and it was like the most endearing thing. So he's like, just like going through the motions, and it was like, yeah, Do it. Get it,
Yeah.
Jeff. Get it. And then he played that
That Astrobot thing.
That Astrobot game, which looks absolutely fine.
Oh, the new one.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's not a VR game. That's just a full on.
I think that's a pack-in game. I didn't realize that was the case. So it's
It was,
like
it was
on the-
tailored for that demo though. Like it actually said like Jeff's demo
Yeah.
on the title screen or something like that. It was pretty nuts.
Oh,
It looks really
That's
cute.
like this generation's Playroom, I guess. Just like the thing that's installed on the console.
Yeah, pretty much. And that kind of like the demonstration from Jeff was actually pretty good. Like he kind of talks about how it feels and like what it's doing differently, and kind of points out the important changes from last gen. And he speaks a lot about the triggers, but from the way he describes it, it does seem like there's a lot of mileage in the way they use triggers in the next generation. So that's kind of exciting. It's worth checking out. It's short and sweet, and you get to see some more of the Astrobot gameplay, which looks fun.
I want to know if they're going to make other colors of that thing.
I hope
He
so.
he asked them that during the demonstration, and they were like, "We'll talk about that later." They had the senior marketing person on there, so obviously he's not going to say anything like that reveals the case. But it would be foolish if they didn't make other colors.
Yeah, that weird two-tone, mostly white thing is not doing it for me at all. But that's the console, so I guess that's kind of what we're stuck with for a while. Getting an enthusiastic head nod from Ben here.
I love it. I don't know. They broke free of the boring ass PS3 controllers in the last 20 years.
I'll give them that, but I don't know.
I like it too. It reminds me of Seto Kaiba.
It does. It reminds me of Chad Warden. Do you remember Chad Warden?
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Forever in our hearts.
It looks like Chad Warden with his collars up.
He has a subreddit. There is
I honestly I think about him, it makes me laugh, and then I realize most of the things he said in those videos were absolutely disgraceful.
Yes,
and I cannot go back to it.
It is very much of a time and place, for sure.
I condemn Chad Warden thoroughly.
Yes, for sure. I guess it sounds like Oculus is actually doing the same thing as Sony. They are also ramping up production on, I forget which one of their headsets. I had that here. Maybe all their hardware, actually. Like, they're also looking to start cranking devices out faster, because that's the thought. Everybody's going to be indoors for a while, so get your game on.
They'll connect them together.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Kind of a little story, but again, we're just, if anybody breathes new console right now, we're probably going to talk about it. Insomniac got out there on Twitter yesterday and said that Miles Morales, the new Spider-Man game for PS5, is going to have a 4K 60 frames per second performance mode, which is cool.
That should be the main mode.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of with you.
Wait, does that mean that's the better mode or the low end mode?
It's like that. The wording is weird because, like, as things stand right now, it's typically you take 4K or you get 60. You don't get both. So,
right.
like, what is the trade off you're making there, right? Like, if you're not getting the 60 frames per second, then are you getting ray tracing? Like, is it like they turn off ray tracing to get more frame rate, or what's going on? They don't give any details about that stuff, but seems like that stuff's not going away. Like, maybe that's the big lesson here, is that, like, this generation, like the split generation with the Pro, has been so weird and fuzzy of, like, every game handles it differently. Like, like some games have got a performance mode, some don't. Seems like that's not going to necessarily go away with the new consoles.
That sucks. Like, I was hoping that we'd get to a position where, like, everything would just be. I think Jeff mentioned it last week's podcast, where he was like, we need to be in this. The beauty of console gaming was you just put it in and you got the optimum experience. Yeah. And now we're at a situation. I mean, I play games on PC as well, but, like, I don't want to have to think about if I'm getting the best. I did it with Tsushima as well. Like, I flipped back and forth and spent 1 or 2 hours trying to figure out which one I like. I don't want to do that.
And then, like, I end up on Digital Foundry. Goes, all right, which one's actually got the better frame rate? I'm going to use that one. Just tell me. Show me your graph. Let me see your frame time thing. Yeah. Yeah, I'm totally with you. Like, it's just kind of like a mindset thing, right? Of, like, if you're going to sit down at the PC and play a PC game, you know what you're signing up for.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I mean, I enjoy having control over stuff like that, but at some point, you just want to flop on the couch. Like, look, my posture is shit in front of a console. I don't want to have to think. I don't have to sit up straight. Just give it to me. Just let me consume. So, Sony hasn't said anything about another event yet, have they? I guess.
No,
Nothing as of right
nothing on the map. Yeah, the
Yeah.
only thing that we know of is Ubisoft are doing another one,
Right.
and then Microsoft are doing
Yeah,
one.
Microsoft got their thing this week. I mean, the rumors are that there will be some kind of hardware announcement from Microsoft in August for the Lockhart. That's the last thing that was going around. There's a bunch of stuff this week I almost put in here, but it was kind of a whole lot of nothing about like people digging through the PlayStation Store API or something like that, finding a bunch of references to PlayStation 5 pre-orders.
Yeah, I saw that. It didn't seem like.
But then like a Sony executive came out and was just like, "We're not going to just drop pre-orders out of nowhere. Like you're going to have notice. Like that's not something that's just going to happen one afternoon." So not much going on there. I would assume, surely they will have another event to announce the price for that thing.
Yeah, they talked about it during that Jeff Keighley stream as well, where he was like, "What was the deal with all this pre-order stuff?" And he was like, "We have no idea where that came from." And overnight, people were like, because apparently people saw it and immediately started lining up at stores, which for various reasons don't do that.
Wow. I missed that
but
part,
like,
man. What the fuck?
they were like, apparently, like they had to be like, we didn't say anything, right? And the whole message from the marketing man was, "We will tell you when you can pre-order.
Don't worry, we'll let you know when you can buy our product.
We will let you know when we're ready for you to give us $600."
just do it digitally. Don't go anywhere, please.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. This is pretty minor, but I didn't want to leave Nintendo out, so I threw the mini direct in here, which I believe was yesterday, right? Yeah, yesterday morning.
Yeah.
Which is honestly is really just an excuse to talk about Cadence of Hyrule getting a bunch of new content.
Yes.
There you go.
Which is pretty
That's
awesome.
a lot of characters, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's 3
Yeah.
packs. I'm not quite clear which pack came out yesterday. Was that the character
first
pack?
pack,
Just
which
the
is just
first one.
characters.
Yeah.
Okay. So the one that came out yesterday is the character one. So it's got like, what is it, 5 new characters? Impa, Shadow Link are a couple of the new ones. But no new music yesterday, right?
Yeah, that's number 2.
Yeah. God, 39 new songs in the song pack that's coming out. These are all $6.
And then the third one's a new island with Skull Kid.
Shit, man.
And then they're gonna offer a full bundle of everything in October.
Okay.
I think you can get access to the full bundle right away. Like you can pay for it right away.
Okay.
Sure, yeah, but they're gonna have like a standalone. You can even buy it. I
Oh,
think they said
gotcha.
retail, physical retail.
Is it like a cheaper bundle if you just get all 3 at once? Or
I don't think so. I think
Okay.
it's.
same price?
I'm not sure though.
Okay, so like $18 for all that new stuff. I mean, that game fucking rips. So
Yeah, it
more
does.
more of that. Like new landmass, like that's, I don't know if they said how big it is, but that's like that and new music and new characters is like practically like a quasi sequel to that game if it's enough stuff.
Nice. Huh.
That's awesome. I don't know about any of this other stuff, but if you guys want
What
to
are
talk
you
about it,
talking
feel
about,
free.
Brad? Did you see WWE Battlegrounds?
Jan,
See how chunky those people look?
Jan, I give you the floor.
It looks terrible. I'm not excited about it. 2K was 2K20 last year was hilariously a garbage fire.
Oh yeah.
I mean, John Cena can do a dragon punch, but then I saw Jeff Hardy get thrown into an alligator, so I don't know what to expect from the game. I don't know.
You're only selling me on this. You're only selling me on this.
Yeah, that sounds good. I haven't
amazing.
seen it, but it sounds good.
I think Andre the Giant like got hatched from an egg also in the
Like the
direct.
gobbledygook?
Andre Hatcher and the giant egg.
Yeah, that's the game, right? I'm like scanning through it now to look at it, and it's the weird. Oh, he popped out of a box. That's what happened.
Oh,
I don't know. It just looks like the weird, like some of their weird action figures where they're trying to make them look like little kids, but they're still like grown ass adults. I don't know.
Yeah.
They look like
Weird.
What's the stretchy?
Stretch Armstrong.
Yeah, they look like Stretch Armstrongs that don't stretch. They look very rigid, but they still look like Stretch Armstrongs. I know that doesn't make
Thank
sense.
you. I'm with you,
it
Dave.
makes about as much sense as the rest
Absolutely
of wrestling.
terrible.
So.
That's also true.
Yeah.
This over the weekend, a guy went to a swamp to face his fears, and then there was like sexual tension, and then he set a guy
With
on
the
fire.
swamp?
Oh, in wrestling. Not in real
Wrestling.
life.
Yeah.
There was sexual tension with a swamp?
No. He
With a
went to
swamp
a
lady.
swamp
In the swamp.
to face his fear.
Okay. I thought it was
And
like,
then-
damn, this swamp is fine.
Are they still
Yeah.
doing no crowds?
Still no crowds, but now they're using their
pseudo crowds. Yeah. Like,
they're using their developmental talent and telling them like, all right, be excited, pretend to be excited. when
Do it.
something is kind of cool, chant "This is awesome."
We're not going to let our audience get infected, but you guys are disposable, so just get out there.
A lot of them
Right?
actually got infected.
Oh my god.
Yep.
Yeah,
No, it's surprising absolutely nobody.
Does anybody?
I will say that Nintendo Direct did give us the Shin Megami Tensei 5
Okay, good.
announcement.
I was going to ask
and
if anybody had anything to say about that because Chad is extremely worked up about it.
Shin Megami Tensei 3 is getting remastered for Switch and PS4.
That's Nocturne or whatever.
That's a good game, and deserving of the remake treatment. But 5 is also happening, which is exciting.
That's a new game.
That's a new one.
That's a new
not
game,
a
yeah.
port. Okay.
Yeah. Obviously, like I don't know, precursor to Persona. It's kind of like they existed in tandem at some points. I remember when there was definitely a Persona game that was called Shin Megami Tensei. There was a few of them,
Yeah,
right?
I want to say
Persona.
first. I've got
Persona.
I've got an original copy of Persona 1 around here.
Yeah,
somewhere.
I think three is where they start to like detach them.
I think
and,
it was Shin Megami Tensei Persona, right?
Yeah,
Early on? And there was also
yeah.
Devil Summoner and like some of those other spin-offs.
Yeah.
So the Persona games were kind of like a spin-off.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to go back to the original kind of like franchise. They mess with like darker themes and they're a little more like heavy, if I remember correctly, and a little more focused on like the demonic side of the world and all that kind of stuff. So I'm super up for that. Well into that. Glad to see that franchise is still going.
Yeah, that's a Switch exclusive, or it's like an also on Switch situation?
I know the remake is definitely coming to PS4.
Okay,
Yeah,
but I meant 5 in particular.
But 5, I think, as far as we know, is Switch only, unless
Interesting.
Jason knows otherwise.
Okay, cool.
I've always wanted to take a dip into the series. Maybe this will be the first taste of it.
Yeah, me too.
They're like Final Fantasy, where like every game is unique set of characters and casts, and there are some like in between kind of connecting tissues. But I say that because like it's also worth checking out the originals. They're difficult to play these days, and perhaps don't hold up as well. But like narratively, characterization, thematically, they're still worth checking out, even if you're just like watching it or reading up about them.
Wasn't the first Shin Megami Tensei on that PS Classic? Or am I imagining that? Or is that only the Japanese version of it?
I got my PS Classic, immediately dumped all my Jackie Chan Stunt Master ROMs on there, and that's the only thing I use for it.
Jackie Chan machine. That sounds great.
It's fantastic.
Y'all think we're still going to see that Mario stuff that was rumored this year? Like we're moving into fall. Granted, a Nintendo Direct can happen literally any time of day or night, so they could just drop it next week. It's not like they're on some timetable or deadline or something, but like I feel like those rumors are like pretty heavy early in the year about all the Mario remaster stuff, and then it's just kind of everybody forgot
Sunshine
about it.
Galaxy and
I forget. Wasn't Mario 64 part of that?
I don't remember.
I forgot. I'd have to pull that stuff back up. It was a lot though. Like I feel like if they're gonna announce that stuff, they got to do it at some point. If that's a this year thing.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like Nintendo needs something right now, right?
Yeah.
Like, they don't have much going on. There's nothing. I can't think of any major games to get excited about from
now
Nintendo.
that Paper Mario's out.
Exactly.
Like Metroid's obviously not going to happen this year. Like
no,
Bayonetta, they had to get out there recently and be like, "Yeah, we're still making it. Don't worry." Like I don't think that's this year either. Like I don't know what else they got.
I think it behooves them to announce something, like to give people who have a Switch to look forward to. Like the Smash DLC is probably not enough for a lot of people. Yeah,
totally. People were, I don't know if I have time to find it. People were just saying that Vice ran a story today about that stuff, but I don't see it. I will have to pull that stuff up later. But let's see. Excuse me. Jason Schreier, who is now over at Bloomberg from Kotaku, posted what looked like a pretty deep dive on the stuff that's going on at Ubisoft in terms of harassment and problems with management and so forth. Like right before this podcast started, I didn't have a chance to read the whole thing, but I know, Ben, I think you got to look pretty closely at it. But
I read a bunch of it. Yeah, kind of the main through line, talking about a lot of the stuff that people had been talking about, and then kind of the main thing being that leadership had been aware of this for years upon years, like the inner circle. The beginning of the story talks about how it was founded by 5 people, and those 5 people are still very much like the core of upper management and
They're
stuff.
all brothers, is that right? I believe?
Yes.
Like I didn't realize it was that tight knit.
Huh.
That definitely conjures like kind of a boys club impression of how things might have worked.
And a lot of it, like coming out about that guy Sergey
Cascoet.
Hascoet,
He's kind of the head of creative for the company, I think.
who resigned since before the story broke. But yeah, a lot of the anecdotes are rough.
Yeah, I haven't, like I said, I didn't have a chance to read the whole thing yet, but the quotes I saw being pulled out were like kind of one of the new angles on this that they get into in the story is how that culture affected a lot of the product design and like kind of product decisions that were being made. Was it, I'm trying to, gosh, help me out. Was it Odyssey, I want to say? Yes. Odyssey is the one, I think, where they wanted solely a female lead character, and like that decision was essentially shut down by management saying like female characters don't sell, like you can't do this. And, like
people saying somebody wrote main character has to be alpha white male, and it was underlined, and they were stomping their foot as they were saying alpha white male.
I saw that quote on Twitter and I assumed that was like intentional hyperbole. I didn't think that was actually a real quote.
It kind of explains why Alexios is such a shit character.
Compared
to
they're
Cassandra.
like, okay, you want an alpha? We'll just dial it.
Well,
up.
like it seems like they spent the majority of the writing and effort on Cassandra because she's like amazing as a character, and then you go to Alexios and you're like, you're just a shit muncher, and I hate being around you. Like, go away.
Is that the one? Is that the game where he is just sort of generic meathead character without much going on?
He's very much like a TV, like the TV version of Hercules kind of guy, where he's just like a bravado asshole kind of.
Boy,
I mean, people liked him, but whatever.
Probably
they're wrong.
Probably probably the easiest thing to write if you need to cram a male character in there very quickly.
This one, I'm just going to read this verbatim from Jason's article. It says, "Is it Hascoet? Hascoet?
I think it's Hascoet.
Hascoet, I think is."
Allegations that Hascoet behaved inappropriately around women extended to the office as well. In a meeting at Ubisoft's headquarters in Paris, one of the top creative leads on a big game was presenting to Hascoet and other decision makers at the company. When the lead, a woman, left the room to use the bathroom, Hascoet pulled up a YouTube video, according to 2 people present at the meeting. He played a French song describing sexually explicit acts with a woman who had the same name as the presenter. He then hit pause when the employee walked back into the room, say 2 people, who requested that the woman's name not be printed. As common with other high-level meetings at Ubisoft, there were no other women present. And so like it's that kind of thing where it's like, even if you can do the mental gymnastics of trying to forgive a person for doing something like that, you just think about like, that's where that guy's mind was at. He was not listening, right? He was not like taking in what the people had to say. He was not making decisions based off of, I don't know, rational thought. It was just, it's that kind of stuff. And it's just basically the article going on about how that was just the culture there and everyone knew about it. That is extra gross.
Yeah. And again, it seems like that trickled down to the actual games that they were making time after time. Like it sounds like there are a fair number of people coming out and talking about like, yeah, here's what a struggle it was to get management to agree to anything that wasn't just like generic white dude main character across quite a few games. So
Jesus.
Yeah, that stuff seems like it will be ongoing for quite some time. I don't know at this point who knows how high up into the management structure these things are going to reach and what changes are going to come about.
There's also some chat about like that kind of the people higher up are also kind of dictating the format of the games, like the systemic nature of like all Ubisoft games basically play very similar ways, and that came from the top down because that's what they believed people wanted. So it's interesting. Obviously, this takes a back seat to the important like cultural work culture and dynamics that need to shift, but hope maybe a few years down the line, once they've got that sorted out, the actual types of games Ubisoft makes may change, which could be interesting.
Yeah.
Again, that is secondary to way more important things that need to happen at that company, but it could have a knock-on effect.
Sure, maybe it is illustrative of that kind of culture, probably touching like everything that they did to some extent, right?
Yeah.
All right, last story I've got. This is, I grant this is kind of an esoteric story, but I found it pretty interesting because, Tam, I don't know if you've heard this game Minecraft. We've been playing a lot of it.
Minecraft, Minecraft Dungeons. Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the one. They basically reverse engineered the seed for the title screen world of Minecraft, like the one that they had. Jan's laughing. I'm sure you get the significance of this. Like basically,
so cool.
Like you fire up the game, the title screen comes up, and it's panning across a generated world from Minecraft. And I tried to dig into this stuff a little bit. It sounds like there's been work going on for a year or two on reverse engineering the seeds of randomly generated worlds from looking at them. Like literally like looking at layouts of blocks and counting blocks. And like basically people like developed an understanding of like what kind of alphanumeric seed leads to what features in the world, and then they were able to start looking at like patterns that they could see in worlds that like streamers were playing and this title screen world, and basically translating visually what they were seeing into those snippets of seeds. And once you have enough chunks of seeds, you can kind of start matching them together and testing them out until you can actually like pin down the exact seed that generated a given world. So they've applied that to that famous like title screen world that's been in the game. I guess they changed it in the last 2-3 years. Once a lot of these bigger updates, like when the Nether update came out, they changed it to another world that they show at the title screen. But for like close to the first decade of Minecraft, it was that same world, and they've basically you can just go out there and get that seed and punch it into Minecraft and actually play that world now.
That's so cool.
It's pretty fucking cool.
Can you imagine if we harness this like brain trust third eye energy into something else? Like we could be on Mars right now, living there.
I mean, it's a pretty I get it. I get exactly what you're saying. I mean, it is a pretty,
but it's still incredible.
It's an impressive feat of ingenuity. It's perhaps maybe a little trivial from some angle. I guess the part of this is a project called Minecraft at Home, which is literally like distributed computing. Distributed computing applied to crunching Minecraft stuff. I love the last 2 lines of this, or last 3 lines of this Eurogamer story that I was reading. It's a fantastic find, but the group who discovered the seed are not resting on their laurels. They're currently using the Minecraft at Home project to search for the tallest cactus. Currently, they found a 22 block high one.
Whoa!
22 block high cactus, y'all.
I thought they could only grow 3 tall. But
Jan, that's why they're the Minecraft experts, and we're still here. Can't even figure out how to beat the damn game.
That's right.
Yeah.
Honestly, like the way I see it, yesterday I spent maybe 40 minutes sitting in front of my TV trying to figure out what to watch or what to do. If these people are just like, I got 40 minutes, I'm gonna find a massive cactus. Fair play to them.
Right.
Well played. Like you've clearly, like, they might be just finding a dumb giant cactus, but they've clearly used the time better than I did. So I ain't gonna say shit to these people.
People are solving theoretical physics problems in their spare time. More power to them. I guess they're using the same methodology to look at like, here is a popular streamer's Minecraft playthrough from like 2011 or something, like something that people who are young adults at this point like grew up with as children, and now they're going back and like, now we can recreate that world from that playthrough that you watched like 9 years ago.
On
it's
Minecraft,
cool.
like console Minecraft, can you put in a seed?
I think you can. I don't know if it's exactly the same in terms of like world size and stuff like that. Maybe they've all got the same capabilities. I'm not sure, but like I don't know. Like I guess maybe we have a different perspective on this stuff because we're actually playing Minecraft now for the first time in a very long time. But like it's kind of mind blowing to me that people are still out there doing this stuff this much after the fact. So yeah,
I love it.
Cool stuff. Human ingenuity knows no bounds. Yeah. So that's it for news. That's all I've got. Let's take another 5 here real quick and then come back and read some emails. We'll be right back. Email time. Who's excited?
Yeah.
I'm excited.
That's right.
What's your favorite
free
email
emails?
address?
My least favorite what?
What's your favorite email address?
Favorite email address?
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Don't say it out loud. He's tricking you.
No. And I mean, also, like, what's your favorite pet, and what year were you born?
What's your mother's maiden name? Oh, boy. Let's get into it. Bombcast@giantbomb.com is my favorite email address.
Hey, me too.
Send whatever you want to that one.
Send your mukbang videos.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yes, please, more of
please.
that. More of that, less of the other thing. All right, let's hop in here. First email is from Daniel. He says he has a question for Sekiro experts.
We got 2.
Yes,
damn.
well timed. There's a part in Sekiro where there are like 20 monkeys standing in a circle. That seemed like an annoying fight, so I just stealthed past them. Well, I was curious, so I looked in a wiki, and these monkeys are guarding an item called monkey booze. Should
Monkey booze.
I, a noble shinobi, go back and slaughter these monkeys to steal their booze?
If you're not getting all the boozes in Sekiro, you're not playing it right.
There are other boozes.
Yeah, there. Go ahead, Tam.
There's like you can get various types of. The monkey booze actually has a bit of lore value as well, because if you give it to, I believe, the sculptor, he reveals some of his history. He actually trained in that area, and I won't spoil it, but there's like more to him being in that area, and it lines up with his history and who he
loves
trained
monkeys.
with.
Yeah.
He loves the monkeys. But yeah, you can get like a booze and give it to various people to get little what's it called, like lore tidbits.
Chat is suggesting there's a way to make the monkeys fight each other.
Oh.
How could you?
Is that a thing with a whistle? Is there a whistle in that game?
There is. I guess you could use it for them. It's usually to like use on beasts because it frees them out. But you should just do, like there's like a platform way high above, and you can just jump to down and like, because there's so many of them piled together, at the very last second you can do like an overhead kill and not take any fall damage. But the amazing thing is, like, as you jump down, you can see your frames just plummet to like 2 frames a second because there's so many monkeys and activities that your game's just like and it really struggles. And then as you kill the monkeys, your performance gets better and better and better.
Nice.
And when you wipe out the final monkey, it's back to full performance Sekiro again.
All right, there you go. The expert has weighed in. All right, next email is from Christian in Argentina. Thoughts on putting a pillow between your knees when sleeping sideways?
Sure.
Anybody?
I've seen
You
it
should
done.
do that.
Yeah.
It's better for you, isn't it? I think.
I've tried it off and on
I don't know.
recently, actually. Apropos of nothing. I think it's good for the back.
Okay.
I think it straightens your spine out a little bit, if I'm not
Oh, I
mistaken.
thought it was all about preventing thigh chafing.
I like to like, because I have a very large duvet. I like to like roll that up and use it as a kind of the pillow in between, instead of actually having a specific pillow. Because I get really warm at night as well, so I'll like have half my body out from under the duvet and half it in.
Yeah.
This is a good way to like 2 birds with 1 stone.
It's the curse of being a hot sleeper.
Yeah,
It's no good.
yeah.
It's,
No.
It's true.
terrible cross.
I can't sleep with anything on me. Like, no, not even a sheet.
Really?
Yeah,
I just
I
feel
can't
like
deal with
even
it.
Even if it's super hot, though, I feel exposed. I feel like something is going to get me. Like something's going to fucking lower itself down from the ceiling and consume me if there's not something covering me.
I'm with you, Brad. I need at least a top sheet. And even if it's just like over one of my legs, there just has to be something covering me. It helps me fall asleep too. Just the sense of like something on you. I like a weighted blanket.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we've got one
Yeah.
of
It's
those.
been too hot for it.
Yeah, those things come in handy now and again.
That's why I like going to the dentist, because of the heavy apron that they throw on you for x-rays.
That's why you like going to the dentist?
Yeah. I don't like getting my teeth cleaned.
Oh, it feels so good though for about 2 hours, and then you eat something again.
Yeah.
You ever come out of the dentist with the super clean teeth? And you're just like, I'm just never gonna eat again. Just gonna roll with this.
I think yeah. That's the feeling I get every time. And I think like, I'm just going to stay true to what my dentist told me to do. 2 hours later, nope.
Yep.
The last time I went to the dentist, I had to carry my teeth in my hands up and down the market, the downtown area market. Not what's north of market called?
No.
Financial district.
No,
I had to carry my teeth in my hands up and down the financial district twice because they fucked it up once.
oh jeez.
And they came out again?
Yeah, it was okay. I mean, whatever. I had to get crowns because my teeth exploded, and I had to take them. They're like, okay,
Oh, Jesus.
we're handing you these teeth. Keep your mouth closed and walk slowly 6 blocks up towards the McDonald's over there in the financial district and just clasp these teeth in your hand. And I got there and I gave them to the guy. And then he swapped them with my crowns and he was doing his thing and he brought him back. And my dentist was like, oh, he fucked up. Tell him to do this other thing. Do it again. So, no, I don't really have any fond dentist memories right now.
Fair. That's fair. We could just move on.
I did get a milkshake after, though, at the McDonald's.
It was all worth it, then.
That was pretty good.
Aren't you not supposed to like drink through straws
Yeah.
after you get like dental
That's what
surgery?
fucked him up.
I used a spoon.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All
I
right.
asked him for a spoon.
All right. Next email is for fighting scientists.
Uh-oh.
It's from Samuel. It is entitled The Needs of the Many versus the Needs of Guile. All charge characters and charge moves from fighting games will be gone forever, but you have to kill Guile. Do you do it?
Absolutely not.
Oh, fuck.
He's the king of charge moves. Like, you can't.
But is
Well,
Well,
there,
that's the point. Is like you
there
have the
anything-
power to get rid of charge moves,
Yeah.
the worst type of move in
yes,
fighting
like,
games.
that's the I have wondered this since the beginning of Street Fighter 2. Is there anything good about charge moves?
Yeah,
Wait
there
till you
is.
fucking
Playing
play a little
defensively, yeah.
undernight in birth, and you have to do up down charges and down up charges
Oh,
and
yeah,
midair
that
up
stuff.
down charges.
I'll admit those are bullshit. But no, there's a certain kind of person that plays a charge character. That's a turtle character. That's
This guy.
No. Yeah, there we go. There's nothing wrong with down backing. You're
They say,
playing
like,
too
yeah.
offensively.
There's
If
nothing
you
wrong
want-
with down backing, but there is something fundamentally wrong with charge moves.
Absolutely not. No,
They-
damn.
Charge moves,
And
the satisfaction of knowing the perfect time to let go of a charge is what is like amazing. But then the layer above it is like when you're using normals in between charge and you know exactly how many normals you need to fill the time for a charge, and then you let that charge go into a scissor kick or a head stomp or whatever. But you know it's like 2 light punch jabs crouched will get you just enough time, and you just keep people like locked down with charge moves. And you're just smothering them with bison kicks.
Mhm.
It's a beautiful thing.
I
Charge
mean-
moves are incredible.
Or with booms, and just
Yeah,
keeping them
sonic
out of the
booms,
air
yeah.
with flash kicks. Just
Exactly.
keeping them pinned to the ground. You're controlling so much space. Oh my God.
If you remember, there was a little controversy and Daigo got in trouble for cheating with the charge partition. I'm just saying that wouldn't have been a problem if charge moves were eradicated. I have a question, Brad. You have to answer about this question.
Ooh.
If we kill Guile, do we lose Guile's theme?
Oh man.
Oh no.
You're not erasing him
Yeah.
from history. You're just killing him. So I'm going to say the stage hangs around.
Okay, then yes.
Wait,
Easy.
where does this leave Charlie? Or
Charlie's. I mean,
Oh,
he
he
doesn't
hasn't
have
been
a
doing
sonic
charge
boom
moves
anymore.
for a while. That's
Oh, really?
fine.
Yeah,
he's
he's
been- In 5, yeah, it was just
I think I'm
don't
really
worry about it.
showing my age here. I don't think I've played him since Street Fighter Alpha 1.
Um,
Well, call
we
me
need
M.
more
Bison
charge
because I want to kill Guile.
It feels like it takes. This may be a very controversial statement. It feels like it takes way more skill to play a charge character well than it does the other type of character.
It
you
has a
gotta know
higher
how long
skill-
to take it.
skill
Like
ceiling.
Tam was saying, you got to know how long it takes to.
Right, like there's so
charge.
many more considerations in the calculation he was just talking about than like I can just kind of pop off a fireball whenever. It only takes like 1/10 of a second or something.
yeah.
Like you gotta really know your shit to pull off the type of stuff you were talking about.
Damn right.
It definitely has a higher barrier to entry, but I wouldn't.
But is the payoff there? Like,
Oh yeah.
are
I
you
feel
that
it.
much more effective for being good at that kind of character?
I feel it.
Think
Yeah.
so? Hmm.
I feel like I'm better
All right.
as a person. I
Okay.
feel like
I
I'm
feel like
better.
if you learn to play a charge character, it makes playing most other types of characters easier.
That's true. I will agree. With
I
that.
feel like I'm a better person than you for being able to do charge moves.
There's a lot of
agree-
reasons.
yeah, I
you're a
agree
better
with
person than me.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
I'll let you guys hash that out on your own time.
Is it a different style when you got to do like the circles instead of like a quarter circle?
Oh yeah. Well,
That's
then
a
you're a
grappler.
brave grappler, and you're the best kind of person.
God,
no, you're actually the worst kind of. You're the scrubbiest kind of person.
I think having to do a 360 circle is worse than a charge. I'm gonna say.
You can do a standing 360 if you just start at 10 o'clock and go down forward to 2 o'clock. and
Wait,
you're just fine.
Can the
It's not true in
circle
all games, but
can the circle start anywhere as long as you complete the circle?
Sure.
Yes.
Yes.
Wait, really?
What?
Yeah.
Holy shit!
No.
I had
That's
no,
why
the
a lot
marker.
of time they hide it. You hide it in jump. You
I
hide
had
it
no
in
idea.
normal.
Yeah, that's the additional strategic layer, and it's how people like figure out who's a new grappler player and who's an old one, because new grappler players always jump, and you're like, I know what you're trying to do here. Don't relax.
That's crazy. Also, somebody in chat said oftentimes you only need 270 degrees.
Yep. There's like
Just like you can't see it because of these
shortcut.
headphones, but there's like steam shooting out of my ears.
Oh man, I want to try this now.
Yeah, dude. It's like once you figure out the limits of how much you actually need to input and going from a crouching position instead, it's way more fun.
Hey, Jan, let's get way into Street Fighter 2.
Let's do it.
I hear it's
Oh,
pretty
man.
good.
Okay, hold on. Oh, okay. I need to know this now because, excuse my ignorance, but with a charged character, right? You hold back or down whatever direction. Do you have to like hit forward or the opposite direction with like the command?
Not always. You can go to like down forward instead, and sometimes depending on the game, it kind of works.
So then
That's-
you're automatically charging for your flash kick.
Yeah. So you're already charging, as Jason said there. So you can basically like link. That's how the pressure is created. Like you need to optimize your charging both in directions and timing so that you can make sure that you're linking all these abilities together.
No wonder I'm so bad at fighting games. Wow.
Or you just get Capcom vs SNK to EO on Xbox and just smash the thumbstick in every direction.
That works too.
Something will
but-
come out eventually. All right. So speaking of controllers, actually, Jacques from South Africa. I've been watching Old Giant Bomb content, and in one video, Dan Reichert calls Vinny Old Gray Controller Vinny.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
If you had to write a Care Bears style cartoon about sentient video game controllers using yourselves as characters, who would be which controller? You already have Old Gray Controller Vinny. I reckon Jeff could be the green translucent Mad Catz controller. I'm basing this on his stream overlays. Alex Navarro could be a Guitar Hero controller for obvious reasons.
Don't give us any more. We want to.
That's it. That's it. That's all.
Okay.
Which kind of controllers would the rest of you be?
Jason's
I'd
a
be,
fight stick.
I'm a Mad Catz brawl stick. One of those really bad parts.
No, Jason, you should be like one of those custom, like the guy who made a Pizza Hut box into a fight stick.
Yeah, I feel like
There we go.
Jason is definitely a homemade, like a hand-built fighting stick.
Yeah.
I'd
With
be the
lights.
Duke.
The Duke?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Okay, yeah, I get it. It's not bad.
I'd be the Res Trance vibrator suit thing.
The whole suit? Just the vibrator or
The whole suit.
The whole
The
suit.
whole
Okay.
suit.
All
I
right.
am getting on you. That's what I'm doing.
I just feel so safe right now. I'd be like the little Pokeball controller that came out with Let's Go.
Oh,
Oh,
that
okay.
doesn't really work, but
Okay.
is aesthetically pleasing.
All right.
Yeah. It's like, oh, that's cute. We'll keep it around.
I would be a circa 1999 Microsoft IntelliMouse with the little Teflon tape over the mouse feet that I put on myself, and the PS2 port sampling rate jacked way up. That's me.
Matt Rory would be a N64 controller. I am not explaining that further.
Nope, makes sense. I think Abby would be like a Wiimote and a nunchuck.
Yeah.
All right. Sure.
It's pretty good.
If Drew were still on the staff, I'm gonna say he would be the Steel Battalion.
Oh,
That
yeah.
gigantic thing. With all
Oh,
the-
maybe Austin would be that.
Oh yeah, sure. Okay.
But what's the
Drew
really
is a full flight simulator cockpit. So.
yeah what's the really expensive flight simulator one that he's always going on about?
The Hotas?
That's the one.
Yes,
Hotas.
yes, full on
Yeah.
HOTAS, full simulator setup.
That's the one.
Full on HOTAS.
Oh, he's got a full 737 cockpit replica built in his garage. That's what I'm gonna say
Wow.
for him. We should make that show. That sounds fun.
Who would be the bad guy?
Ooh.
Like, who are we after? Who's our Gargamel?
Isn't that the Smurfs?
Hideo Kojima.
Connect?
What kind of
Oh, the
controller is he?
Kinect. Yes.
Yes,
The Kinect's pretty bad.
the Kinect is that's not bad.
Tony Hawk's Ride controller.
Just a Tony Hawk with a right controller.
Yeah.
All right. Next email is from Chris in Los Angeles. The latest Paper Mario game makes it clear that Dry Bones is not a former Koopa Troopa that has died and been reanimated, but is in fact a distinct species of creature different from a Koopa Troopa that is, quote, dehydrated.
Well, that one in particular is dehydrated. The one you find early on.
Okay. Well, he has some questions, but you may have cracked the code here already. If this is true, what is the original creature that Dry Bones is a dehydrated version of?
It's the original Princess Peach.
That's where she went. Okay. Follow-up question. If this is true, is Dry Bowser, therefore, a completely different creature than regular Bowser?
Oh, jeez.
Oh, wow.
There's a Dry Bowser?
Implications.
Is there?
Oh, yeah, there's Dry Bowser.
What?
He's dry.
In this game?
I don't know about in this game, but like they started going whole hawk with the dry blanks. Like in the Wii U era, there was Dry Bones, Dry Bowser. I'm sure there's more.
I'm still trying to grapple with the existence of Dr. Baby Wario. I can't be dealing with Dry Bowsers.
Yes,
and
Okay, I googled dry Mario characters, and it's all pornography.
Oh, God. Not on this podcast.
Does Dry Bowser exist?
Oh yeah, dry Bowser's real, and he is.
Okay.
Cannot believe my life has come to typing Dry Bowsette into Google.
No.
Oh, my God. You don't.
Either way,
Wow.
you're gonna need some lotion.
There is a substantial fan art community that is way ahead of you, let's say. That's all I'm
Found
gonna
my
say.
people.
That's all I'm going to say. Oh, man.
Oh, where's the Tam meme format? I need to do this.
Mario Kart Tour has a gold Dry Bowser where the bones are made out of gold.
Oh wow.
Okay.
This is too much.
I would love to see a dry Boo.
Oh,
What is?
that's
Yeah,
it's just a knuckle.
It's like a deflated balloon.
You might have by Jove, I think he's done it. He's stumped the Mario fan art community.
Wow, yeah.
I cannot find a single example of a
all
dry
right.
boo.
Tweet me your dry Boo drawings. Use the hashtag dry boos for Ben.
Let's get it trending. Like and subscribe. All right.
Monkey Booze for Ben.
That too. I'll take that too.
There you go. Let's see here. I totally don't have another email yet. Talk amongst yourselves.
Oh, you guys like Mario?
Would dry booze just be made out of sand?
What would Dry Booze be?
So is like wet bones just like a regular? Would that become a regular?
No, that's something
okay.
else. Wet bones.
Do you add
Something
you
else.
just add water to a dry bones and it rehydrates, it reinflates? What's going on there? I don't know.
You can't like grow muscle back like that. If
Maybe you
a
can.
Dry Booze is just gone. Like it doesn't exist. Like
Just a
that's
wisp.
Yeah, it already
Dry-
died. It already died.
dry
Like,
boo.
It's a set of
can't-
eyeballs.
They can't die
Dry
again.
Boo
right?
is like the final state of existence, or like that's the moment true death happens to a boo is when it becomes a Dry Boo.
Finally set him free.
Is this like
Yeah.
is this like when Terrorblade went to the hell of hell? It's like you have to die twice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
What I want to see is Dry Donkey Kong.
Ooh.
Oh,
I have
it's
to.
no
God.
fun.
I have to stop doing this.
Dry Kong.
I have to
Kong.
Stop.
Dry Funky Kong.
I don't see anything. All right, let's move on.
Break him if he were to clap.
I cannot keep doing this. All right. Next email, Jamar from Dallas. I'm finally closing on my house, and I need help decorating it. My living room can accompany 2 normal-size arcade machines. Which 2 should I get? I would like an SNK MVS and
Yep.
maybe a generic all-in-one machine.
Okay.
I think he might have answered his own question.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like it.
That's a pretty good spread,
I mean,
unless you subscribe to the philosophy that all-in-one machines are heretical, that they're fucking bullshit, which some people certainly do, because they're not original, they're not legit.
Do what makes you happy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, follow your heart.
They said they could fit 2 arcade machines.
Yes.
Screw that. Buy the mini ones. You could get like 8 then.
No.
Oh, true.
No, God,
Stack them
no.
on top of each other.
Get an arcade cabinet, but put an original Xbox on there, and then just play Halo with a controller wired, and really upset people. Really, really rustle them.
Get 6 the grid machines so you can have grid LAN parties.
Now we're
Or
talking.
get a DDR machine. It can be your exercise.
Yeah. Get a
Rick-
DDR machine.
Rig an arcade machine so you're playing World of Warcraft with a stick and buttons.
Oh man.
Get one of those Dave and Buster's Flappy Bird cabinets.
Now we're talking. Wait, does that exist?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Does it just have one gigantic button?
Like every shitty iPhone game has an arcade cabinet.
Temple Run
Doodle
has one.
Jump, Temple Run.
Is this control surface literally just one giant button that you just like slam on with your palm?
Pretty much, and it
Yeah.
even looks like a big iPad.
That actually sounds all right.
Fruit Ninja has one.
Of course. Of course.
There's a fake beer pong one.
I was looking at photos of somebody's homebrew project over the weekend. They got a Sega Astro City cabinet, if you know what that looks like. It's like the
Oh
Japanese,
yes, I do.
the Japanese sit-down cabinet, and they had wired
Yeah,
their
it's a candy cab, right?
yeah, and they had wired their Mister into it so they can play all the CPS stuff.
That's
Legit.
legit. That's
Oh, I
that's
was-
my number one cabinet.
Oh
that
yeah, I
want.
was super jealous. That thing is Japanese arcades to me.
Mhm.
Yeah, mod a cabinet, man.
Mod a cabinet.
Do what makes you happy. Don't let them tell you how to live your life. Let's see. Aiden from Illinois. The main theme songs of Bayonetta 1 and 2 were upbeat, jazzy covers of Fly Me to the Moon and Moon River, respectively. What moon-related song should serve as Bayonetta 3's theme? Is there a song about moons over Miami? That's the first thing that comes to my mind.
Okay, what do we got? We got Blue Moon.
Okay,
We got
yeah, that's not the
Bad-
worst.
Yo, Bad Moon Rising.
Okay.
Bark at the Moon. Bark at the
Bark,
Moon.
Bark at the
Yeah.
Moon, actually, not.
Bark at the
Yeah.
Moon. Yep.
Jazzy cover of Bark at the Moon.
Yes, I might be on board with that.
Yep. There we go. That's our answer.
There's got to be something else.
That's
Anybody
the only
else?
song with the word moon I can think of.
Maybe Brain Damage from Dark Side of the Moon, which contains the line "I'll see you on the dark side of the moon."
little fun fact here for Bark at the Moon, specifically for Jan and Ben. Bark at the Moon, the basis for the theme for Sarutobi in Naruto.
All right.
shit.
Well, we have to do that.
Let's roll.
Oh man, Naruto, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic.
My one Slack break from my vacation was to post something in our Naruto chat.
I guess it's fitting that the Naruto Slack channel has survived when all the others, like Kingdom Hearts and Death Stranding, have all been archived, but Naruto continues.
God, I just want to keep using host Kage and stuff.
All right, I changed my mind. Anime's bad.
No.
No, bad. Come on, we're building a statue.
Wow. Let's see. A couple more real quick before we get out of here. Skylar from Seattle. I was wondering if any of you have heard anything about what Ken Levine and his successor Studio 2 Irrational Games, Ghost Story Games, have been up to. Bioshock Infinite happened to cross my mind recently, and I realized that it's been 7 years since that game came out. And as far as I can tell, literally no information has come out about what it is they've been working on since. It seems kind of crazy that they could put out a game that was as critically and commercially successful as Infinite was, only to go into complete radio silence for 7 years. My personal theory is that the shark cards from GTA 5 must be paying for 2K to keep the lights on at Ghost Story and their secret project after all this time.
My favorite Ken Levine thing is if you go to his Twitter profile, I think it's still this way. It lists in his bio that he's working at Ghost Story Games, and it says current project, and there's a Bitly link. And if it still is the case, if you click the Bitly link, it takes to a GameSpot video of Ken Levine explaining narrative Legos at GDC 2014.
Huh. All right.
Wow.
Okay.
So as far as we can tell, he's making narrative Legos. Okay.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think that sounds pretty consistent with. Yep.
I've
there.
always been
Awesome. Good.
Totally still there. I was at a preview event last year where a developer for a game that I had literally just met moments before very candidly was like, "Oh yeah, I'm thinking about applying over there." And I was like, "Huh, okay, thanks for letting me know." But they claimed that the project was very much still ongoing.
Yeah. I imagine.
Like that, as far as they knew, it was quite a thing that was still in progress, not something that has like died on the vine or whatever. So
Well, I just
my
every
story.
now and then I remember that they're making a new Bioshock and he's not involved. So They've
Oh,
got to be but they are still like funding his studio, so
Yeah.
I imagine that things are going to be interesting.
God, did they? I feel like this is just like another reflection of how nonstop leaks are these days and how accurate they usually are. That I can't remember if they actually officially announced that or if that was just something that has been bubbling up. They did, right?
Yeah, they officially announced.
They officially
the
said that's
Bioshock,
happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, with the it was a studio that already existed that got rebranded and presented as a new studio.
Okay. Okay. So that's okay. So that is officially on the books then.
I did an interview for the new Bioshock game, and every question I asked, they were like, "Yeah, we don't know right now."
I'll talk about that yet.
It's like someone came into the studio in the morning and went, "You are making a Bioshock game. Now speak to the press." And they went, "What?"
Oh boy, I would not want to be in charge of figuring out what to do next with that series.
Well, there's always a lighthouse, so you just start
True.
there.
That's true. Yeah, you got your
Just
template.
work your way backwards.
That's right. Just filling. It's just like Mad Libs, right? All right. Last email. Tom from Ontario. I'm having a bit of a personal crisis right now. I looked up Deadly Premonition 2 on IMDb and discovered that the voice of everyone's favorite FBI special agent, Francis York Morgan, voiced by Jeff Kramer, is also the voice of another iconic weirdo from the late 90s, Sega's waterlogged abomination, Seaman.
Wow.
Wow.
That explains so much.
I didn't know what to do with this information other than write and ask, what is the weirder game on his resume, Deadly Premonition or Seaman?
Deadly Premonition.
Yeah.
I think so?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know if there's
Contextually, like
You can
Seaman came out at a time when people were doing real weird shit with video games, and it was like
so great about it.
But now people are just making open world action games where you tick off boxes, and then there's this one game where split personality cop is on a skateboard and hunting crocodiles on the street.
I could see
That's what I'm
the
saying.
argument.
That's what I'm saying.
I could see the argument.
You just described Deadly Premonition in one sentence, though. I don't think you can do the same for
I
Seaman.
don't know if you can describe Seaman in an infinite number of sentences.
Tamagotchi with fish with human face.
Sorry, what?
There you go. No, that checks out.
Oh, God. Oh, he's done it. He's done it after all this time.
But where does Letterman fit in?
Oh, man.
Damn.
I went to, as an intern at GameSpot, I went to the launch party for Seaman, and Ute Saito signed my little Seaman guidebook, and that's my story about Seaman. Still got it around here somewhere. All right. That's it for emails. I don't think I can do any more. I don't know about you guys. I'm drained.
No
All
more.
right. All right. Thanks, everybody, for
trying.
listening then. Tamoor, we cannot thank you enough for stopping by.
Yeah,
Thank you for
man.
the invite. Love chatting with you guys.
And congratulations, dude.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Recent promotion to GameSpot.
Mm-hmm.
Also, want to congratulate you on your mood lighting. I didn't want to bring it up earlier for people listening to the audio show, but
I wanted to try and make an effort for you guys.
it looks cozy in there. It looks comforting.
It is.
It's like a place you could relax.
It's nice.
All right. Well, that's going to do it then for this week. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Since Jeff's out, no after show this week.
But I'm going to hop in and do some
Yes.
kind of streaming.
Jason's going to jump in there
And it's not what you think.
and
Oh.
show us how to do spinning pile drivers for the rest of the afternoon.
Potentially.
Yeah, just point your webcam down at your hands.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see that.
You just like you're churning butter, because that's something that everybody does.
Just demonstrate from every possible joystick position. I want to see
Right.
the optimal place to start the circle.
Yep. Forward, usually.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We'll be back with another one of these shows same time next week. We'll see you then.
Bye.
I should probably get ready to fade to black before I say that. All right. Thanks, y'all. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.